Testing. Testing. There we go. That's better. That is a lot better. Now y'all can hear me. Now, as I was saying, before I completely botch that intro, what are you going to do? It's a live stream. What I was going to say is, it's Saturday! You know what that means. We're live! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel on YouTube.com, as of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle, wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind, this is the official Lightning Flash update for April 24th. 2021. I've already lost my voice, botched a little bit in the intro because I forgot my fucking blue snowball microphone, but regardless, that does not change the fact that we are still live here on YouTube.com with the Lightning Flash update with loads of news, rumors, and reports, plus 5 solid weekly show reviews. We are gonna get down. We're gonna get dirty. We're going to get controversial. We're going to get wordy. I'm not sure why I just turned into Dr. Seuss right there, throwing out rhymes left and right. People are going to cancel me quicker than they fucking canceled Dr. Seuss. All these fucking woke liberals and shit. But regardless of that, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a damn good time here on YouTube.com. Where is the posse? Holy shit! We're not even 5 minutes. We are not even 5 minutes into the stream, and we already got a solid 12 likes. That is what I'm talking. 13 likes. Man, you guys are coming out the gate. Damn it, incredible straight out the gate. So, let's check the chat. Where is the posse? We got my number one mod, DD. We got Shane McMahon. The best in the world, Shane McMahon. The originator of the Stupid Express, Braun Strowman. We got Adam Carl, what is going on? We also got Cool King 89707, aka Rob Wells Jr. Earl Cole, good afternoon to you. We got Peanut 67 Wild. We got Wild Bear 69, David Maniscalco. Good shit, people. Please, if you haven't already done so, hit that like button. We got a great show here. We got a great stream. I'm going to be going over a lot of interesting material. A very newsworthy week here in the world of professional wrestling. And of course, it's going to be covered by yours truly, the end-all, be-all of the IWC. Everyone goes through me because I am the biggest, the baddest, the most prominent, and the most vital non-paid content creator. Of course, you have these fucking losers from Wales with fucking Michael Cole Abbeys on social media trying to discredit my hard work, trying to discredit the time and the effort that I put in to making the DJ Storms brand the most prominent and vital non-paid brand in the IWC. So go fuck yourself, people. I am the end-all be-all. You all answer to me, and if you don't like it, you can suck my testicles. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot. We got a lot of material to dissect, a lot of material to go over, but first things first, we're going to get through some self-brand promotion and advertisements right here. If you guys haven't already done so, please make sure you are following me on the Twitter sticks at HistoryMakerDJ, as you'll find out why I am the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. Please make sure you follow me on Instagram as well at @TheDJStorms. Add me on Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. So if anyone wants to collaborate with me, please make sure you send me an email if you are interested. The links are in the description. Also, please make sure you like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, again, like I stated, all the links are in the description, so you won't miss a thing. Check them out right now. We are a little bit over 6 minutes into the video. If you haven't already done so, please make sure you hit that thumbs up. We have 13 thumbs up so far. I like to see that, but I would like to get to a goal of 50. 50 thumbs up would really, really make my day. We've reached 50 thumbs up before for a Lightning Flash update not that long ago. I believe it was at the end of February. I think we can do it again. I believe this may be the last Lightning Flash update for April. We could be looking at a Lightning Flash update to start off May. Yes, May 1st, I believe, will be the first Lightning Flash update of May. So I want you guys to help me end the month of April strong. I want to get 50 likes. So if you haven't already done so, if you're in the chat right now, please make sure you hit that like button. Hit the like button, and if you haven't already done so, in order for us to reach these goals, I need y'all to share out the stream on all platforms of social media, whether it be Twitter or Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, or Tumblr. Every single social media platform that you have, that you are a part of, I need y'all to share out the stream on every single platform of social media. It is vital in order to reach the goals. So please make sure you share out the stream on all platforms of social media, so that way we can get everybody in here. Everybody needs a little bit of DJ Storms in their life. I'm talking about your mothers, your fathers, your brothers, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles, your grandmothers, your grandfathers, your cousins, your dogs, your cats, and especially your guinea pigs, because I have so many damn articles lodged in my laptop that it's taken up so much space that if guinea pigs are exposed to DJ Storms, they are said to live long, happy, and healthy, fruitful lives. So if you have a guinea pig and you want him or her to live a long, happy, healthy, fruitful life with you, please make sure you get them their daily doses of DJ Storms. Thank you very much. This message is brought to you by the Lightning Flash Update, which you can catch every Saturday on YouTube.com at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the DJ Storms channel. I am DJ Storms, and I approve this message. I don't really know what that was, but I'm coming up with new shit on the spot, people. And yes, Earl Cole, he did have his wrestling experience show last night. I'm gonna check it out when I have the chance. I'm actually gonna do a paper when I get off of this, because I got a shit ton of college work to do. So I will be sure to check out the wrestling experience when I can, Mr. Earl Cole. Thank you very much for stopping by the way. But also, if you guys haven't already done so, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I would like to grow and I would like to expand my platform to the best of my ability. So please make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And if you haven't already done so, when you hit that subscribe button, please make sure you hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it is the best time to be on YouTube. It's the only time you're going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. It is vital for the views, the likes, everything relies on this glorious sideburn chin strap combo. And as Earl Cole says, we're going to whip out the magic comb and we're going to touch it up just a little bit with a little and a little Everybody wants wants a piece of the StormsMeister, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody wants a piece of the StormsMeister. You better believe it. Anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion and the advertisements. We are going to get straight into the news, rumors, and reports. Keep on sharing out the stream. Keep on notifying everyone possible. Share it on all platforms, social media, because we want to get as many likes as possible. We got 13. I would like to get to at least 30, but I would really like to get to 50. So if you guys can help me reach those goals, I would greatly appreciate it. News, rumors, and reports. We are going to get straight into it, and I will check the chat after the news, rumors, and reports. What's going on? Desmond D3, how are you? You just hit that like button. Thank you very much, sir. Please make sure you share out the stream on all platforms of your social media because we are shooting for 50 likes. 50 likes is the goal here. We're going to be here for a long time, so please make sure you get the likes rolling. Get the likes rolling and get everyone in here as possible. A solid 15 likes. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I like to see. Wrestling Lane. I will talk about the Aleister Black promo when we get to the Smackdown portion of the review, but we actually got some news, rumors, and reports to get through. So here's my first piece of information from the news, rumors, and reports section. I will check the chat after I'm done with the news, rumors, and reports section. I get a report from Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. He reported that Randy Orton actually suffered a shoulder injury on Raw in his match with Riddle. He stated, and I quote, "I don't know the extent of what happened, but Randy Orton hurt his shoulder. He was fighting out of the corner and Riddle went to give him an exploder. And Randy, of course, did not take an exploder. He blocked it and then he pulled back to do this very dramatic punch and he punched him. And then from that point forward, he could no longer use his right arm. He started throwing forearms with his left arm, which looked horrible. He couldn't use that arm, and you could see him kind of messing with his shoulder." End quote. So, it seems as though Randy Orton hurt his shoulder by himself. It was not Matt Riddle's fault. It was Randy Orton himself because he put a little too much effort behind that punch, and it kind of threw his shoulder out of place, my guess. Randy actually was in good spirits afterwards because he joked around on Twitter the following day on 420 Day when he tweeted out RK Bro in response to Matt Riddle's pitch for a tag team before their eventual match on Monday Night Raw. So Randy Orton, obviously, he is not blaming Matt Riddle, and I don't think that it's really going to affect Matt Riddle's status on Monday Night Raw because everyone on Monday Night Raw is just in a complete state of shit. Doesn't matter where you look, no one on Monday Night Raw feels special, and no one on Monday Night Raw actually feels like a big deal. Everyone feels like complete shit. But at the end of the day, I don't think Randy Orton is really going to hold anything against Matt Riddle, and the fact that he tweeted out RK Bro afterwards, showing that he's in good spirits, kind of joking around about it. It seems as though he is in a happy mood and he's just going to let it slide, my guess. I don't really understand why he would have any reason to hold any grudges against Matt Riddle or shit. But that's pretty much it. I am guessing that Matt Riddle and Randy Orton are going to be involved in the Money in the Bank ladder match come June 20th, I believe that pay-per-view is. Other than that, this isn't really all that crazy. Randy Orton at most will probably be out a month and a half. I do expect him to be back by Money in the Bank, but Randy Orton and his shoulder injury, it doesn't really look like it requires surgery, and the fact that he did joke around about it kind of shows that, hey, he's in good spirits, so he doesn't really care. That's pretty much that. Anyone who is wondering what the status of Randy Orton is, that is pretty much the extent of Randy Orton's injury, per Brian Alvarez. How are you doing, Mr. Abicki? Yes, I know, those people are pussies for sure. Don't worry, we ain't here to worry about them. We're here to talk about pro wrestling, and we're here to have a good time. You're always going to have a good time with DJ Storms. Don't worry about him, bro. Don't worry about him. I actually got a report on the former Retribution members that actually came out on Monday. So, coming from Post Wrestling, Shane Thorne, aka Slapjack, Applejack, Kangaroo Jack, Jack Black, Jack Off, Jack Balls, of the former group known as Retribution, has been quietly moved to the Smackdown roster. Mike Johnson of PW Insider followed up this report by stating that Reckoning, aka Mia Yim, has also been moved to the Blue brand, although it is unclear whether or not they are keeping their current characters. Now, as you know, T-Bar and Mace, T-Balls and Disgrace, they are staying on Monday Night Raw. They are currently in a top program with Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman, the Stupid Express, along with Bobby Lashley and MVP. Now, to be quite honest with you, moving to SmackDown is probably the best thing for Shane Thorne and Mia Yim. Shane Thorne, realistically, he should still be in NXT, but if he's going to be on SmackDown, Shane Thorne could actually be a solid hand in the mid-card on Monday Night Raw. Not Monday Night Raw, excuse me, SmackDown on Fox. You got a fairly decent mid-card on Monday Night Raw. If you add Shane Thorne, you got Shane Thorne, Shinsuke Nakamura, Apollo Crews, Buddy Murphy, Aleister Black, Big E. It's a solid mid-card right there. Mia Yim, the SmackDown Women's Division, the talent for the SmackDown Women's Division is actually there. The division just needs better booking. You got Bianca at the top. You got Bayley. You got Sasha. You got Carmella, who's decent. Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, they've come a long way. You add Mia Yim, that's a solid foundation for the division. But the most interesting thing about Mia Yim and Shane Thorne moving to SmackDown is it's pretty obvious, everyone knows that Mia Yim is the fiancé of Keith Lee. And WWE, they usually keep the couples of WWE, the couples backstage, they usually keep them on the same brand. Montez Ford and Bianca Belair on the same brand. You got Corey Graves. Corey Graves is actually on Raw now, so Carmella could be moving to Raw. But Corey Graves and Carmella, they were on SmackDown. We had Rollins and Becky on Raw throughout 2019. It makes me think that Keith Lee could potentially move to SmackDown. And if that's the case, that's going to be the best possible move for his career. And I hope that happens because, let's be honest here, no one's going to fucking succeed on Monday Night Raw. You go to Monday Night Raw, your career's dead. SmackDown isn't really that much better outside of Roman Reigns, but SmackDown, I've noticed that SmackDown offers more opportunities than Monday Night Raw does. With Paul Heyman in creative control of Roman Reigns, and he's dabbled in what Apollo Crews has been doing with his Nigerian Prince gimmick, the fact that Daniel Bryan is a part of the creative team, and he's spearheading the Cesaro push, it's a much more opportunistic dynamic over on SmackDown, if you know what I mean. And SmackDown, with Keith Lee moving over to SmackDown, it's going to make SmackDown better, and it's going to help Keith Lee. It also opens up the door for a lot more interesting programs with Keith Lee. You could do Keith Lee Apollo, Keith Lee Aleister Black, Keith Lee Seth Rollins, Keith Lee Cesaro, or Keith Lee could potentially be another option for Roman Reigns to drop the Universal Championship to. Because I say it all the time, the one problem, well, WWE has a lot of problems, but one of their main problems is the fact that they never transfer credibility from one superstar to another. Roman Reigns is credible. It's all about who's going to beat him and who's going to take that credibility and who's going to be made into a new star. I've said it once and I'm going to say it again. The only guy that should be beating Roman Reigns right now is Cesaro. Cesaro's the best possible guy to do it. But it seems like they might be teasing that for either a Backlash or a Money in the Bank when they shouldn't. That match should be saved for the SummerSlam main event. But if Keith Lee's on SmackDown, that opens up the door to build up Keith Lee for a potential Royal Rumble win in 2022. He can go into WrestleMania and he can face Roman Reigns, dating back to their back and forth at the Survivor Series of 2019, and you could transfer that credibility and transfer the Universal Championship from Roman Reigns to Keith Lee. So, with Mia Yim moving to SmackDown, I'd like to hope that that is going to be an indicator that Keith Lee is going to be moving to SmackDown as well. And based on what happened on SmackDown yesterday, with Daniel Bryan putting his career on the line, it almost seems like they're preparing for Daniel Bryan's exit from SmackDown. And if Raw's going to lose Keith Lee, which, let's be honest, even though Keith Lee's completely buried, even though he's dead in the water, Keith Lee is still a big star, and he's a guy that could be a major babyface on Raw. Vince McMahon just doesn't want him to. And he's burying him. He's not using him because he gave up on him. But if Keith Lee moves to SmackDown, Raw is losing a top guy. So you need to replace a top guy with a top guy. And since Daniel Bryan put his SmackDown career on the line against Roman, it almost seems like they're preparing for Daniel Bryan's exit and Keith Lee's entrance. Keith Lee could be on SmackDown within the next couple of months. I don't know. But if that's the case, I would absolutely love to see Keith Lee on SmackDown, because that opens up the opportunity to build up Keith Lee and have him be the one to take on Roman Reigns. Now you have options. You can either go with Cesaro or you can go with Keith Lee. You got more options, and you got challengers for Roman Reigns that we haven't seen before, and you got people who are going to be enhanced even further just by being in the ring with Roman Reigns, whether they win or they lose. But Keith Lee being the guy to beat Roman Reigns, that will absolutely fucking help Keith Lee come back up from how piss poorly he was booked on Monday Night Raw since his debut. I do hope to see Keith Lee on SmackDown. Now, as it relates to the other members of Retribution, T-Bar and Mace, Dave Meltzer, he reported WWE's plans are to continue pushing T-Bar and Mace in this current role that they are in, feuding with Drew McIntyre. Meltzer stated, and I quote, "They're actually going to try something with Mace and T-Bar. They put them in there with McIntyre and Strowman, and they got DQ'd. Actually, McIntyre got DQ'd, but they had a DQ finish other than a pin. So that tells you that they're gonna keep that thing going, and they're positioning them, I guess McIntyre and Strowman are the top two baby faces in the brand. They're positioning them high on the card." End quote. Now, I don't really understand why Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman would be the top baby faces on the card. I don't think anyone looks at them as top baby faces anymore, since Drew McIntyre's been booked so fucking poorly. You fucked up Drew McIntyre twice. In his WWE Championship reigns. And Strowman, I can't remember the last time anyone even gave a shit about Braun Strowman. As far as T-Bar and Mace goes, I don't understand why they're still going by their Retribution names, considering they were unmasked. I mean, it's not like we didn't already know who they were. But I don't understand how you expect T-Bar and Mace to get over when they're still wearing these masks, number one. And number two, you still have the T-Bar and Mace names, so the Retribution shit is still lingering. I don't even understand why they're even on the main roster. Dio Madden shouldn't be on the main roster at all. Dio Madden should still be in the Performance Center. Dominic Dijakovic, he should still be in NXT right now. He could have easily been North American champion 2 times over. Or, if you wanted to, you could have built up Dominic Dijakovic potentially to take the NXT title off of Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross apparently is not going up to the main roster until he loses that NXT championship, and he's not losing the title anytime soon. So at the end of the day, you need someone to beat Karrion Kross for the NXT championship. You could have kept Dominic Dijakovic in NXT, and Dominic Dijakovic could have been the one. But no, you decided to call him up to Monday Night Raw and put him in a Bane mask and a fucking Grim Reaper cloak, and calling himself T-Balls. T-Balls. Raw ain't going to be any better just by pushing T-Balls and Disgrace It's actually going to be worse. I actually got another report from Dave Meltzer concerning WWE. They actually suffered another COVID outbreak. Meltzer stated, and I quote, "We did have another outbreak." I mean, there was. That was part of it. I don't know who it was because they won't tell you, but there was, end quote. Now, a couple of people have actually been absent over the course of the last few weeks. This COVID outbreak and the report of a potential COVID outbreak, this could possibly explain the absence of AJ Styles, Edge, and Omos. Those are the top 3 most notable names that have been missing from WWE television since WrestleMania. So this COVID outbreak probably affected AJ, probably affected Omos. It could have affected Shinsuke Nakamura, because Shinsuke Nakamura, he's been out for a little bit. They were starting to use Nakamura in a role to just put others over, but now he's gone. Now it could be Nakamura just not being used, but then again, I don't know. It's potential that Nakamura was someone who suffered from the COVID outbreak, but the 3 top most notable names that have been out for the last 2 weeks have been AJ, Omos, and Edge. Daniel Bryan just returned. So that could possibly explain the absence of those top stars, for anyone who was wondering. I got a report from WrestleVotes. WrestleVotes. They tweeted out a report in relations to WWE traveling back to Saudi Arabia. The tweet read, and I quote, "Two WWE sources indicate that an event in Saudi Arabia prior to the end of 2021 is very much on the table." End quote. Now, as far as the Saudi Arabian events go, obviously no one gives a shit about them. Obviously, they are the worst events for WWE all year. Simply because of the fact that WWE, they just don't give a shit, and the more money that they make, the less shits that they give. If they actually put some effort into what they did, and they actually put an effort into the shows that they built, they actually put an effort into the build, and they actually built the show up to be something, and they gave all the matches ample amount of time, instead of rushing through the fucking matches like they do every fucking time they're in the Saudi Arabian area, because they don't want to even fucking be there. I understand it's a business, they're going to take all the money that they can, but at the end of the fucking day, at least put some fucking effort into your shows, and maybe I won't complain. Put some effort into your shows and maybe I won't complain. I don't care. If they were decent shows, then I wouldn't be complaining, but they suck. You knew this was going to happen. You knew that the moment that they get back to touring, they're going to be able to go back to Saudi Arabia and they're going to put on whatever shows that they fucking want. It's just what they do. Just something that we're going to have to deal with. How you doing, Jess? How you doing, Midnight Rose? Make sure you hit that like button. Moving on. Charlotte Flair. WWE official Adam Pearce announced on Raw Talk that Charlotte Flair had been fined $100,000 and suspended indefinitely for attacking an official on Raw. The reason why she was suspended was revealed by Alex McCarthy of TalkSport on Wrestling Daily, and it was revealed that Charlotte Flair is missing time to have some dental work sorted out, and I quote, but isn't expected to be gone for long. And Charlotte Flair, like the hypersensitive bitch that she is, she actually called out Dave Meltzer, and I'm not talking about this because I'm a fan of Dave Meltzer. I do not listen to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. I have not listened to the Wrestling Observer newsletter at all. I do not pay for the Wrestling Observer newsletter. I have not read a Wrestling Observer newsletter article in full once. All I do is follow Dave Meltzer, and I report what he reports here on my show. So I am not a big mark for Dave Meltzer, I'm not. But Dave Meltzer was going on about how WWE always makes the women feel self-conscious about their looks. That's just how it is. She needs some work, blah, blah, blah. And Charlotte Flair, being the bitch that she is, she obviously took offense to this. For whatever reason, I don't know. Because, again, I did not hear anything wrong with what he said. Matter of fact, I have heard so much worse being said about so many other people on social media, and Charlotte Flair is making a big deal out of this. To me, it just seems like she is just insecure about herself, so much so that she needs to tweet something out about Dave Meltzer, say that Dave Meltzer deserves to go to hell, blah, 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 and she brings her fucking fans and her fucking loser cult base to her social media to try and attack Dave Meltzer and do all this other bullshit. And then she wants to go on, people want to go on record and say that words matter. Words only matter to people that should have major effects in your life. What good do the words of random strangers on social media or people that don't even have effect on your life have? What value do those words hold? It just sounds to me like Charlotte Flair is coming off like an insecure, thin-skinned pussy. If Dave Meltzer was a family member, if he was a friend, if he was a coworker, if he was a boss of yours, then yeah, maybe I would understand why his words would matter. But Dave Meltzer, regardless of whether he has your phone number or not, he doesn't have a direct effect on your life. I am never bothered by any words that I hear from anyone on social media because I don't give a shit. I just continue on doing what I'm doing and be the best that I could possibly be. If it was a family member, an acquaintance, a fan, an associate, a friend, then yeah, I would care about what he or she is saying. But if you're really worried about what a random analyst, a random ass wrestling analyst is saying on social media, it's the same thing that what happened with Peyton Royce and Dave Meltzer all that while ago. Peyton Royce completely fucking blew that shit out of the water with Dave Meltzer. And again, I'm not a mark for Dave Meltzer. I just follow him on social media. But Dave Meltzer gets way too much shit. For what? Doing his job? He talks about wrestling. He can say whatever he wants. I didn't hear one thing that he said that was wrong. I didn't hear one thing that he said that was wrong. So, to me, it just sounds like Charlotte Flair is an insecure bitch. And if you're that thin-skinned and you're that hypersensitive, maybe this profession and social media ain't for you. If you can't handle the heat, then stay out of the kitchen. I'm sorry. The words of strangers and the words of individuals that don't have direct effects on your life should not matter to you. And if they actually matter to you and you're hurt by those words and those individuals are not friends, family, or coworkers, people that actually have direct effects on your life, if you are really affected by that shit, you're fucking soft. Charlotte Flair is soft as fuck. She is. I'm sorry. But as far as her getting dental work goes, as far as her getting dental surgery goes, we can think, it's not wrong to think that there's probably something that we're not hearing. Is there something that we're not hearing? Quite possibly. Could it have something to do with Andrade? Maybe there is something going on between Charlotte Flair and Andrade and WWE management that we're not hearing about. It's not out of the realm of possibility that something else is going on. However, based on history with Charlotte Flair and WWE, there's really no reason for anyone to discredit this report, saying that she's not going to be out for long and she's out for dental surgery, because if you look at history, Charlotte Flair is one of WWE's pampered poodles. Charlotte Flair is one of few individuals that WWE always caters to. And you take a look at history, what reason has history given us that we are to believe that something else is going on? Because as far as I see it, this is going to go exactly how it's said that it's going to go. Charlotte Flair is going to be out for a month and a half at most. She'll be back by Money in the Bank, and this is going to be a bridge for WWE getting Charlotte Flair into Money in the Bank and potentially winning the ladder match when it realistically should be Shayna Baszler and cashing in on Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley's going to be buried again. And if she doesn't win the Money in the Bank briefcase, she's going to come back and she's going to be placed in the SummerSlam Raw Women's title match with Rhea Ripley. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Is there something else going on? Quite possibly, but as far as I'm concerned, I say it all the time with this company. Seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. So I am not to believe that Charlotte Flair is going to be out for any longer than she needs to be. I'm not going to believe that Charlotte Flair is going to be punished because of what's going on with Andrade unless I actually see it. Because again, Charlotte Flair is one of WWE's pampered poodles. WWE can't get off of Charlotte Flair's figurative balls. So at the end of the day, there's no reason for me to discredit this report. Charlotte Flair is going to be out for a month and a half. She's going to come back and win the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Guarantee it. And if she doesn't, I'd be shocked. So that's pretty much what's going on with Charlotte Flair. The big story, the big story this week, even more so than Charlotte Flair, the big story this week, even more so than Charlotte Flair, was actually Mickie James, who was recently released from WWE last Thursday. And what happened was, Mickie James tweeted out a photo of a garbage bag labeled as a WWE care package, stating that her belongings were sent to her in a trash bag. She tweeted this out and it went viral. She was released from the company last week and she called them out for their unprofessionalism. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon publicly responded to Mickie James, with Stephanie publicly apologizing to Mickie James, and Triple H then tweeting out that the person responsible for these unprofessional actions was let go. Wrestling Inc. then reported on Thursday night that Mark Carrano was fired from WWE. Now, let's talk about Mark Carrano. Let's talk about Mark Carrano. Mark Carrano is a WWE cocksucker. Mark Carrano is a WWE cocksucker. Mark Carrano is a shill. Mark Carrano is a yes man. Mark Carrano is a jackass. Mark Carrano is a jackass. We all know this. But I'm going to be quite honest here. I don't even think it's fair to blame Mark Carrano. I don't even think it's fair to blame Mark Carrano, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if you've noticed, Vince McMahon is very strategic with what he does. Mark Carrano is just another puppet of Vince McMahon. He's doing what he's told to keep his job. Vince McMahon strategically puts people like this in front of him. Mark Carrano, Bruce Pritchard, Kevin Dunn, John Laurinaitis. He puts these people in front of him for a reason. Vince McMahon doesn't give a shit about anybody. Think about this for a minute. Vince McMahon doesn't give a shit about anyone. Vince McMahon only gives a shit about himself and making money. He doesn't care who suffers in turn. He doesn't care who. He doesn't care who takes the brunt of the punishment. He places people like this in front of him to deflect any blame off of himself onto these individuals. That's the whole reason why Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff were put in charge of SmackDown and Raw towards the end of 2019. It was to deflect any blame, any creative blame and heat off of Vince McMahon onto those guys. Vince McMahon was the one who told these individuals to send back Mickie James's belongings in a fucking trash bag. Vince McMahon doesn't give a shit about anyone. He doesn't give a fuck about the talent. He doesn't give a shit about his executive team. He doesn't give a shit about the fans. He doesn't give a shit about anyone. He doesn't give a shit about anyone. Vince McMahon knew exactly what he was doing. Vince McMahon knew exactly what he was doing, so that way, if a situation like this arises and shit stirs up and shit really comes out of the gate and there's problems between an executive and a former employee, all the blame is deflected off of Vince McMahon onto said executive because this executive is placed in front of Vince McMahon. Mark Carrano is nothing more than a scapegoat. Mark Carrano is nothing more than a scapegoat. No one fucking likes Mark Carrano, but at the end of the day, he was nothing more than a scapegoat. He was nothing more than someone for everyone to point the finger at. That way WWE doesn't have to really take responsibility for being unprofessional. Vince McMahon was the one that organized all of this. Now that Mark Carrano's been fired, he's going to hire somebody else to put in Mark Carrano's role, and then that man, should another issue like this arise, that man is going to take the heat. And that man is going to suffer what Vince McMahon should be suffering. Same thing with Bruce, same thing with John Laurinaitis, same thing with Kevin Dunn. All of those individuals are nothing more than human shields for Vince McMahon to hide behind. It's nothing new. Those are your news, rumors, and reports. Let us check the chat. Midnight Rose, I do not think Sasha Banks is leaving WWE. I have not heard any reports there. If she does, I don't blame her because, to be quite honest with you, the WWE product just sucks. Backstage morale is at its lowest point. But I don't think she's leaving WWE. I think that she could just be doing what she's doing as far as her acting career goes. I don't think she's leaving WWE. That could be the reason why Bayley's getting a title opportunity, to be quite honest with you. If I'm going to be quite honest with you, I did hear something about Sasha Banks doing a little bit more acting roles. She's dabbling a little bit more in acting, considering that she was on The Mandalorian. I can definitely see her taking a little break to do some acting, and then possibly coming back. Again, that could be the reason why Bayley is getting a SmackDown Women's title opportunity. Maybe Sasha Banks is one of these individuals out with COVID. I don't know what's going on with Sasha Banks, but I'm going to keep my eye out on that, but I don't think she's leaving. But she is undervalued, trust me on that. I know why she's undervalued. Vince McMahon never really treated her right up until last year. But then again, we don't really need to go in depth on that. I don't blame her for walking out either. But Sasha Banks, I don't think she's leaving. She's not leaving. I think she's focusing a little bit more on her acting career. I believe that that's why Bayley's getting the title opportunity, which I don't necessarily mind because, look, it's a pay-per-view worthy match. We'll talk about that a little later. We'll talk about Bayley and Bianca a little later. Why it's a pay-per-view worthy match, but it doesn't make sense. We'll talk about that a little later. Alexa Bliss sucks, though. I'm just pointing that out there. Alexa Bliss sucks. Charlotte Flair sucks, too. Brian King, I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, brother? Proud mixed child. I am happy to have stopped by your stream. I'm glad you're doing well. What's going on, Travis? I know that you're suspended. Don't worry. You'll be back soon. Brother. I hope that work isn't too bad as well. I hope that you get nice, hefty paychecks from your job, you know? Get those nice, hefty paychecks. Danielle, I know that she's lurking. Brian King, thank you again for stopping by. Thank you again for hitting that like button. We are at 21 likes. I like that. We are at 21 likes, and we are not even an hour into the stream. If we can get to 30, that would be awesome, but I really would like to get to 50. So if you guys could keep on hitting that like button, I would greatly appreciate it. because we've got plenty more to talk about. We got 5 weekly show reviews to go over, and my oh my, do I got a lot of shit to say about Monday Night Raw. Holy shit. Do I got a lot of shit to say about Monday Night Raw. I'd love to see you try Midnight Rose. The truth is the truth. The truth is the truth. Truth is the truth. Alexa Bliss sucks. Alexa Bliss sucks. Alexa Bliss sucks. Who else sucks? Charlotte Flair sucks. Miz and Morrison. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Hee, hee, ha, ha. Hop, hop. I wish they would hop right out of WWE. Miz and Morrison suck. And Alexa Bliss is terrible. So, Monday Night Raw. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Man, I can't wait to talk about Monday Night Raw, said nobody ever. Holy shit, it sucked. Holy shit, it sucked. Yeah, there we go. Rob Wells Jr. knows the Lightning Flash update. You know, the Lightning Flash update does much better than Monday Night Raw. You already know. So, Monday Night Raw kicked off with Drew McIntyre, a.k.a. Drew McIntyre. He says, opportunity is a hell of a thing. Adam Pearce made a 3-way number 1 contenders match, and I earned my way to WrestleMania Backlash. Oh, really? You earned your way to WrestleMania Backlash. You earned your way to WrestleMania Backlash after you lost at WrestleMania, sure. He goes, let's talk about Mace and T-Bar. I would rather not talk about Mace and T-Bar. He says, I know the mastermind is MVP. Maybe MVP will put on one of those masks and cover up his ugly mug. When I get my hands on those big bastards, I'll get a little retribution. So, MVP then came out. MVP said, perhaps you should start expecting the unexpected. The almighty WWE Champion feels you'll make a worthy adversary to beat again. Lashley has decided to downsize the Hurt Business, so why would he recruit people when he beats you by himself at WrestleMania? Mason T-Bar have zero affiliation with the Hurt Business. Drew then exited the ring. He was going to approach Mr. Montel Vontavious Porter before T-Bar and Mace attacked Drew again, gave him a double choke bomb, walked right past MVP as MVP smiled. So are you going to unmask them and put them in suits or not? I don't know. Mickie James and Sasha Banks were both undervalued. They were both undervalued, but in different manners. Mickie James more so than usual. So, Drew McIntyre then approached Adam Pearce in the back, demanded a handicap match with T-Balls and Disgrace. So Pearce was obviously hesitant, but he did make the match official for later on. We get the Viking Raiders versus Cedric and Shelton Benjamin. Same match that we got last week. Ivar and Eric ended up winning with the Viking Experience, even though Adnan Virk called it the Viking Express. I would much rather be on the Viking Express taking it off of a cliff than watching Monday Night Raw, to be quite honest with you. But the Viking Raiders beat Cedric and Shelton again, so they are on a winning streak now. I don't know where AJ Styles and Omos are, but if it was up to me, I would get the titles on the Viking Raiders immediately. I would get the titles on the Viking Raiders immediately, and I would get AJ Styles away from Omos. I said the same thing last week. Get the titles off of Styles and Omos and put them on the Viking Raiders. Put them on the Viking Raiders. Randy Orton was being interviewed backstage before Matt Riddle came up on his scooter, and he suggests that they form a tag team and call themselves RK Bro. Orton said nothing. He walked away. Riddle goes, I guess that's a no. Randy Orton then approached Adam Pearce and asked for a match with Matt Riddle. He actually said he didn't know who the hell he was, but he wants to teach him about respect. Really, you don't know who he was, but he was the United States champion just 2 weeks ago. And you don't know who he was. Charlotte Flair, so she's going to be out for a while, so this is going to be the last time that I'm going to be able to say this. This is going to be the last time that I'm going to be able to say this. But we live by a code here on the channel, and that code is... Fuck Charlotte Flair. Fuck Charlotte Flair and all of her supporters. Charlotte Flair sucks. Charlotte Flair sucks. I don't care about Charlotte Flair. I don't care who would care about Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair sucks. She is terrible. She is a cancer to the product. And no one will ever care about Charlotte Flair. Ever. Because Charlotte Flair blows. Charlotte Flair blows. So, she was wearing a purple reflective dress. She said she came back demanding respect from the WWE Universe. You don't fucking deserve any respect, Charlotte Flair, because you don't offer any respect in return. What goes around comes around, bitch. She calls herself the biggest star in the division. Yeah, sure. Biggest star in the division. Charlotte, she says, Charlotte Flair is on every single headline. The locker room is so fake to each other. Yeah, just like your tits. Just like your tits. The locker room is so fake. Not as fake as your tits. Not as fake as your tits. Not as fake as your teeth are going to be. She says, tonight, I'm going to remind Asuka how much I don't like her. Asuka then came out, and before she could even get a word out came Rhea Ripley. Charlotte said, hey, Rhea, take some notes on your future. Rhea said, I pretty much know that Asuka's going to beat you anyway. Charlotte then told Asuka to stop talking. Asuka then screamed in Japanese and then yelled, tonight I will beat you, bitch. Who writes this? I'm literally trying to comprehend who the fuck writes this. Literally, who writes this? Rhea Ripley was the one that came off the best in this segment because she said the least. Who is writing this shit? Who is writing for Asuka? Asuka has not looked legitimate in God knows how fucking long. I can't remember the last time Asuka actually had a decent fucking promo. I don't know who the fuck is scripting Asuka, but whoever is scripting Asuka to act this way and talk this way, actually, you know what? No one is scripting Charlotte Flair. That's all Charlotte Flair. I don't know who the fuck is writing this shit, but I'm legitimately losing fucking brain cells just by watching this. Who is writing this? Again, Rhea Ripley came off the best in this segment because she said the least. You're right, Travis. Bruce Pritchard's fucking writing this. Face is red as a baboon. The whole left side of the menu. Whole fucking left side of the menu. Matt Riddle versus Randy Orton. This was undoubtedly the best thing on the show. Undoubtedly, this was the best thing on the show. This was the only thing worth going back to watch. This is the only thing that I would recommend you go back to watch. This was the best thing on the show, hands down. This was a very good match for the 14 minutes that it went. But here's the thing that I want to ask. So, you put Matt Riddle in there with Randy Orton when you could have actually saved this for the pay-per-view, because Matt Riddle versus Randy Orton could have actually been a nice, solid undercard feud to make the United States Championship feel important. Randy Orton is obviously not challenging Bobby Lashley, Randy Orton doesn't need to win any championships anytime soon, so why not use him to help get others over, like Matt Riddle? But instead, you take the title off of Matt Riddle, you put it on Sheamus, only to do an open challenge and have Humberto Carrillo answer the challenge, when you could have kept the title on Matt Riddle and built towards Backlash, but instead, you decide to fucking waste the match away on Monday Night Raw. No build, no story, no effort whatsoever. Great job. Great job. It was a very good match nonetheless. Again, the only thing worth going back to watch, it was probably Randy Orton's best match since his WWE title match with Drew McIntyre back at SummerSlam of 2020. So Orton was in control. Riddle chopped away on Orton before Orton whipped him into the turnbuckle. Randy Orton sent himself into the post accidentally. We had a nice swift Pele kick by Matthew Riddle. We had a big jumping forearm strike. Big jumping forearm strikes. Riddle hit a Broton for a 2. Randy Orton then stopped Riddle on the top rope. We had a superplex from the middle rope. That got a 2 count. Matt Riddle got dropped over the rope. And Randy Orton hit a draping DDT. Riddle then reversed the RKO into a crucifix pin. And Matt Riddle got the 1, 2, 3 over Randy Orton. Please don't jump for joy, people. Don't jump for joy, because again, like I say with this company, seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. There's no reason to believe that Matt Riddle is somehow going to be in line for a big push unless WWE actually follows through with it. No reason to get excited. It is Monday Night Raw we're talking about here. I don't know what they have planned for Matt Riddle, but if Matt Riddle is not challenging for the WWE Championship within the next 2 months, or he's not winning the Money in the Bank ladder match, this victory would mean nothing. How many people thought that Keith Lee's victory over Randy Orton meant anything? And Keith Lee beat Randy Orton quicker than Matt Riddle. It took Keith Lee half the amount of time that it took Matt Riddle to beat Randy Orton. Very good match. Best thing on the show. Does it mean anything? Of course not. Lana and Naomi versus Nia Jax. Nia Snacks. She's been eating too many snacks. And Shayna Baszler. Reginald is apparently back. I believe he returned. When did he return? He fucking returned on Smackdown last night. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke came out mid-match. They replayed their attack on Nia last week. Rose slapped the shit out of Nia, and then they replayed Nia's slip off the apron. Nia, like a fucking dumbass, walked off when Shayna Baszler was reaching for the tag. And Nia, like a fucking idiot, she doesn't care about the match. Lana and Naomi gave Shayna a double facebuster for the win. This was fucking pathetic. This was absolutely fucking pathetic. I don't even know. I don't know anymore. I really fucking don't know anymore. The only fucking positive about this entire thing is that there's potential of fucking Travis in the chat with the Jax that smiles back. She's been eating too many goldfish. You gotta lay off the processed goldfish, Nia. Nia did shit. Oh, God. I find more enjoyment in this shit. This is why I do this shit. Ditch Shayna for IHOP. She got the entire menu at IHOP. Fucking terrible. Oh, God. We're all going to hell, aren't we? This was fucking pathetic. I don't know what else to say, but the only glaring positive about this, Alright, you guys gotta stop now. I got a show to review. Nia's DoorDash showed up backstage. That's why she bounced. She probably ordered like 5 baggages. You gotta stop now. I got a show to review. The only glaring positive about this is that Shayna and Nia could be done. And if that's the case, God, I fucking hope so. God, I fucking hope so. I fucking hope that they lose the tag team titles and Shayna Baszler is moving on to win the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, though I doubt it. Maurice and The Miz came out for Miz TV. Jizz TV. They were out to celebrate the premiere of Miz and Mrs. I don't know who the fuck watches Miz and Mrs. Miz obviously hyped up his wife. He made Bad Bunny into a household name, beating Damian Priest last week. They were acting all gushy. So they kiss as Pyro went off. Overproduced as shit. Miz says that there's going to be a 24/7 documentary for The Miz on Sunday. Damian Priest then interrupted. He took the mic and he says, "You're as delusional as Jake Paul thinking he's a real fighter." Yeah, just as delusional as The Miz thinking that he's a legitimate professional wrestler. Fuck The Miz. So they replayed how Miz cheated last week, and Priest says, "You got your pants ripped off and everyone saw you got no cojones." Maurice then made a match with Miz and Priest for later. Miz then chucked some champagne in Priest's face before they left, and that was that. That was that. Elias versus Kofi Kingston. Woods brought out a bass, and he started playing Stone Cold's theme song on the bass, which was actually pretty impressive. I barely paid attention to this match. Elias won with the diving elbow. Who gives a shit? Alexa's Playground. She goes on to tell Lily's story. She says, "We've been best friends for a very long time. There was this girl who wouldn't let me have a bite of her ice cream. I don't really like strawberry anyways, but you know what I did? I shoved that little bitch right off the swing. She broke her arm, and when the teacher asked, I told her the truth, that Lily made me do it. All the little girls on the roster, Lily didn't like him, and Lily doesn't like any of you." So I'm not sure what that means, but if this means Alexa Bliss is now going to be wrestling as the Fiend character, this is fucking terrible because Alexa Bliss is jack shit in the ring. Alexa Bliss is jack shit in the ring. The character's fine. But at the end of the day, Alexa Bliss will always be jack shit in the ring. She should be nowhere in the ring. She should be nowhere near a ring. She should be nowhere near the Raw Women's Championship title picture. And ultimately, if she starts losing, like you had the Fiend lose every single fucking match that he's been in since Goldberg, I don't really know what to fucking tell you. Bray Wyatt wasn't even on the show. Go show you what they think of Bray Wyatt. Shayna Baszler and Nia Flapjacks, they had a confrontation backstage where Shayna said, "You better get your head in the game or else." Garza then, Angel Garza, who's been found by the way, he came up to Nia Jax. I don't even know what the fuck he said. I would just put Angel Garza with Humberto Carrillo and actually build a fucking division for your tag teams. It actually is, Travis. That's Backlash 2008 playing in the background. You are correct. We got T-Balls, who unblocked me. T-Balls and Disgrace versus Drew McIntyre. This is a 2-on-1 handicap match. They caused themselves to get disqualified when they attacked Drew McIntyre, only for Braun Strowman, the stupid express, to come out during commercial, or going into commercial, and we get a fucking tag team match, which also ended in a disqualification when Drew actually ripped T-Balls' mask off and hit T-Balls with it. No, it was actually Mace. He ripped Mace's mask off first, and then Strowman ripped T-Balls' mask off, and then Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre stood tall. I'm not sure why the fuck Braun Strowman's even teaming with Drew McIntyre. This shit's making my fucking head hurt. This shit's making my fucking head hurt. Damian Priest Damian Priest. Damian Priest versus The Jizz. The Jizz. This was exactly what you would expect. We've seen this shit thousands of times. Damian Priest gets the win with Hit the Lights, and that was pretty much that. This is it. This is it. It's done. It's over. Damian Priest beat The Miz. It's done. Let's move Damian Priest on. Let's actually continue to build up Damian Priest. Let's get him in there with guys like Drew Gulak. Let's get him in there with Akira Tozawa. Let's get him in there with Ricochet. Let's get him in there with Drew McIntyre. Let's get him in there with a lot more people other than the fucking Miz and route him getting an eventual U.S. title opportunity and winning the U.S. title from Sheamus. No more of Damian Priest and the Jizz. Thank you very much. Damian Priest wins with Hit the Lights. Goodbye. Sheamus came out. U.S. champion. He says, do you want a shot at the champ? So he was offering an open challenge to anyone, and Humberto Carrillo came out. He was ambushed by Sheamus. Sheamus tossed him into the barricade, beat him down, and gave him a bro kick, and Sheamus stood tall. So, what does this mean? I'll tell you exactly what this means. This means that Humberto is being used for two reasons. And it's not because they want to push Humberto. If they wanted to push Humberto, then he wouldn't have been off of television for 8 fucking months just before resurfacing. So, at the end of the day, Humberto is being used for two reasons. Number one, it's because they have to, because they just released 10 individuals, and they need to make do with the individuals that they have. They gotta make do with the fucking individuals that they have, so they're putting Humberto Carrillo out there. And number two, Sheamus just won the United States Championship. Do you think he's losing it anytime soon? No. Sheamus is now in the same boat as Matt Riddle. They don't give a shit about anything. They're just going to throw however many interim opponents at Sheamus that they want before they get bored, and they eventually decide who's going to take that title off of Sheamus. Humberto is one of those interim opponents. I guarantee you that Humberto and Sheamus is going to be booked for Monday Night Raw in 2 days, and Humberto is going to beat Sheamus in a non-title match, thus getting a title opportunity at WrestleMania Backlash. Sheamus is going to win, and Humberto's going to be right back in catering after WrestleMania Backlash. Why? Because Humberto's done nothing to earn a title opportunity, so we're going to get a non-title match. Humberto's going to win via a roll-up, via count-out, some way, shape, or form. He's going to beat the champion, and Humberto's going to get a title opportunity at WrestleMania Backlash, where he'll lose. That's it. Just watch. Humberto's beating Sheamus on Raw, and then Sheamus is going to beat Humberto at the pay-per-view. Just watch. Asuka versus Charlotte Flair. I did not give a shit. I don't think anyone gave a shit. This was same shit that we've seen. It was actually very, very sloppy. Rhea Ripley actually came out to watch. She sat on the ramp with a chair. Asuka was in control. Came back with a drop kick. Asuka with a German suplex and a Shining Wizard for a 2. Asuka went for a code breaker. She didn't even connect. Very, very sloppy. Botch and a half. Asuka then tried to take advantage, but Charlotte hit a spear for a 2. Asuka then locked in the Asuka lock, but Charlotte was able to get to the ropes. Asuka locked in the figure 8, but Rhea Ripley pulled Charlotte's arms out from under her behind the referee's back. The ref didn't see it. Charlotte went after Ripley. Asuka with a kick and a crucifix pin for the win, and Asuka beat Charlotte. No bullshit, actually. It was no DQ. No DQ, no countout. Asuka beat Charlotte. Ref did not see what happened. So, Charlotte afterwards then attacked the ref, threw him around, and beat him down, thus resulting in her getting fined $100,000 and being suspended indefinitely. So, that's pretty much that. That's pretty much that. So, Charlotte Flair, I already talked about Charlotte Flair. She's out to get dental work. She's out to get dental work specifically because of whatever. She's out to get dental work. It's pretty much that. And there's really no reason for us to discredit that report, to be quite honest with you. Because again, Charlotte Flair is one of WWE's pampered poodles. So at the end of the day, whatever happens, and as far as Charlotte Flair goes, Charlotte Flair is going to be back in that Raw Women's title picture sooner rather than later, unfortunately. That was Monday Night Raw. Absolutely fucking sucked. The worst show of the week. Let us check the chat. Danielle DD is back. Rant mode was definitely activated. Trust me on that. Rant mode was activated. Proud Mixed Child, how you doing? Earl Cole, thank you for tweeting me out. Thank you for tweeting me out. We got Peanuts still in the chat. We got 24 likes. I like it. We are 6 likes away from 30. You have a great evening too, Mr. Earl Cole. Thank you for stopping by. I greatly appreciate you. Please, people, we need 6 more likes in order to get to 30. So I need y'all to share out the stream. Share it out. We want to get to 30 likes here on YouTube.com. And we are going to talk about NXT next. NXT started off, there we go, 25 likes. I like it. NXT started off with Kyle O'Reilly. Terrible theme music, by the way. He took the mic and he said, "In life, we face constant struggle. And at TakeOver Stand and Deliver, I faced the toughest challenge of my life. I'm done with Adam Cole. I realize my work in this ring will speak for themselves." What is next for Kyle O'Reilly? I found that killer instinct. You have to be willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. So do I take this killer instinct and do I go after the Workhorse Championship, the North American Championship, or do I take this killer instinct and take on the most dominant force in NXT? And then he started talking about time, a time reference that means I must be talking to you, Karrion Kross. And then out of nowhere, we had Cameron Grimes came out. My name is Cameron Grimes. And I've been investing in GameStop. And, it turns out that GameStop can earn you a lot of money. And with this money, I'm going to take this money and I'm going straight to the moon. Gotta love Cameron Grimes. So Cameron Grimes came out and he says, "You're proud? You proved that Stand and Deliver. I see you as a big dog, a top dog. If you could have someone to watch your back like me, think about it. Moment you jumped off that top rope, think about it." Kyle O'Reilly then said, "Yes, you're a genius." He did his to the moon. He did the to the moon catchphrase with Cameron Grimes. And Kyle O'Reilly says, "You're a genius. I found out today that I'm officially medically cleared to compete." He put on his sunglasses because he says, I think I just found my first opponent. "No, it's not you. We're business partners." So he put on his sunglasses and he goes, "Oh, hey, it is you." He punched Cameron Grimes and then strutted away. And that was the main event for later on in the night. If anyone is actually wondering, NXT's viewers actually slightly increased this week. So I'm glad that they moved to Tuesdays. I'm glad that they went up. I'm glad that they're starting to gain a little bit more traction. And I hope that it continues because I do want NXT to succeed. The show wasn't all that special. It was a very skippable show. Wasn't bad. NXT's never a bad show. It was just lackluster. This was a decent little segment right here. Really nothing too crazy. It set up the main event for later on in the night. Night. Speaking of night, we had L.A. Knight. L.A. Knight. Yo, what is it with L.A. Knight? What is it with that? L.A. Knight, he's doing the point to the left, the point to the front, and then a point to the right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't I been doing that for the last 4 years? I'm not sure. I think LA Knight may be watching the Lightning Flash update. I think Knight is watching the Lightning Flash update right now. I think that someone in NXT must be watching good old DJ Storms. They must be watching this 22-year-old Jersey kid doing the point to the left, the point to the front, and then a point to the right. I like LA Knight. I think LA Knight's fantastic. He oozes charisma, but Knight, stop stealing my shit. Okay? You're not DJ Storms, so you don't get to go LA Knight. LA Knight, I think LA Knight is hilarious. He's actually very, very funny. LA Knight's promos are actually pretty funny. But LA Knight, don't steal my gimmick. Don't steal my mannerisms, Mr. Knight. So, LA Knight took on Dexter Lumis. And this was a decent match. This was a decent match right here. Nothing really too crazy. But this was a decent match for what it was. Fine wrestling between these two. LA Knight with a slingshot shoulder tackle. Lumis answered back with a back body drop. We had a neck breaker by LA Knight. He remained in control. Lumis came back with a spine buster. He mounted a comeback with a big running bulldog, back suplex, and a kip up. We had a leaping leg drop and a slingshot suplex for a 2. So, from there, Knight and Lumis brawled on the outside. All of a sudden, Indy Hartwell was seen in the crowd. Knight tried to take advantage. Knight, because Lumis was distracted, Knight hit a snapmare driver, looked very sloppy. It did not connect, and he pinned Lumis for the win. Lumis and Indy then were about to kiss before the Way came out and yanked Indy off the apron before she could kiss Dexter Lumis. The match was decent, but this storyline is fucking stupid, and it really does not make any sense. It's not making Dexter Lumis look good at all. It's not. And on top of that, how exactly are you going to justify Dexter Lumis getting a North American title opportunity after he just lost clean here to LA Knight? How are you going to justify Lumis getting a title opportunity after he just lost to LA Knight? I'm not sure how you're going to make sense of Dexter Lumis getting a title opportunity. And to be quite honest with you, this storyline, it's not doing anything. It's really making Dexter Lumis look bad. It's not entertaining, and it's quite frankly, it's something that you would see on the main roster. This isn't Mandy Rose and Otis. This isn't a Mandy Rose Otis type storyline. Dexter Lumis has shown that he has no emotion. All of a sudden now you're having him show emotion for what? Unless this is resulting in Indy Hartwell costing Dexter Lumis and revealing that she was working with Johnny the entire time, I don't really understand the point of this storyline. It's making Dexter Lumis look bad. And again, you can't justify Dexter Lumis getting a title opportunity because he just lost to LA Knight. Decent match, but stupid fucking ending. Io Shirai was interviewed by Beth Phoenix. They were in a boardroom. They ran back Io's title win and how important it was to her. They replayed Raquel Gonzalez's win, and Io says that Raquel was her biggest challenge to date, and when the time is right, I'll get my rematch. My body needs time to rest. All of a sudden, Frankie Monet's dog walked out on the table, and Frankie Monet interrupted, and she congratulated Shirai on a 300-plus day championship title reign, and she said that she'll be able to fill Io's shoes when she goes away. So Io rambled something in Japanese and then screamed, "I like cats." So Frankie Monet, she's really establishing herself around the NXT Women's Division. I expect her to get a few wins against some unknowns under her belts before she moves on to Io Shirai. We'll see what happens there, but I think that those two could put on a fairly decent match, but as far as the character goes, the character fucking sucks. I'm sorry. Character fucking sucks. Grizzled Young Veterans versus Breezango. Breezango came out dressed as the British Guard. Zach Gibson actually took the microphone and he shit all over them. And there's something about Zach Gibson. There's something about Zach Gibson shitting all over the other tag teams. Whoever tag team is in the ring, Zach Gibson just comes out and shits on them. There's something about him that I just find hilarious. I love seeing Zach Gibson just shit all over everyone. Zach Gibson, he is very, very underrated on the microphone. When he speaks, vastly, vastly entertaining. Zach Gibson, love that he shit on Breezango. Funny as hell. He's brilliant. So we get the match. This was a pretty decent match for what it was. Breezango was in control. Fandango hit a big tope over the top rope. James Drake, this was actually ingenious. James Drake faked a knee injury. He was playing possum. He faked a knee injury. I actually thought that he was actually injured. He actually played it up very, very well. Gibson hit Fandango in the eye behind the referee's back, and then James Drake got up and he said, "No, I'm fine." Genius by the Grizzled Young Veterans. Absolutely genius. So Breeze got the hot tag and he took out Drake. Nice forearm off the apron. Breezango was on the receiving end of a ticket to mayhem. Breeze took the finish. Fandango was out on the outside, and the Grizzled Young Veterans get the win with Ticket to Mayhem. Grizzled Young Veterans, they will be your next NXT Tag Team Champions by the end of the summer. Zoe Stark versus Sarai. This was a damn good match for the short amount of time that it was, but I want to point out something to you that Sarai, is not going to be anything special when she gets called up to the main roster. She'll have a fairly decent run in NXT, but the moment that she gets called up to the main roster, she is dead. She's dead. She's not anything special. She's not anything crazy. She's not anything overbearing. She's going to have a decent run in NXT. She'll have some great feuds, some great matches in NXT like this. This was a great match for what it was. But at the end of the day, the moment that she gets called up to the main roster, she is dead. She's just going to be like every other Japanese talent that ran through the rankings in WWE. Look at WWE's history with Japanese talent. Look at Akira Tozawa. Akira Tozawa, 2 years ago, was fighting Adam Cole at an Evolve special for the NXT Championship. And then a year later, a year after that, he was leading an army of fucking ninjas as if he's Jackie Chan, fighting the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders outside of the Performance Center. Akira Tozawa, he's a fucking ninja. Look at Shinsuke Nakamura. Within 5 months, he lost to Jinder Mahal on the main roster. And then he won the Royal Rumble. Everyone's jumping for joy. Oh my God, Nakamura's finally going to get what he deserves. He lost the feud to AJ Styles, and then he was given a bunch of irrelevant mid-card title reigns that resulted in nothing, and now he's a glorified jobber. Look at Kairi Sane. She was given a women's tag team title reign, and the women's tag team titles are one of the most worthless championships in the entire industry right now. She was given the women's tag team title. She didn't defend it for 4 months, lost it to fucking Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross at WrestleMania, and then she left WWE a few months later. Kairi Sane gone. Look at Asuka. And don't even try and give me the bullshit that, oh, Asuka, she's accomplished everything there is to accomplish in the WWE. She's done everything there is to do. Yeah, that may be true, but how many of those accomplishments actually mean something? How many of those accomplishments are actually memorable? Think about this. How many of those accomplishments are memorable, and how many of those accomplishments actually mean something? The only memorable thing that I can remember that Asuka ever did in her entire WWE run is her 523-day reign as the NXT Women's Champion. What has she done on the main roster that's memorable? What? She had a 6-month irrelevant reign as Women's Tag Team Champion with Kairi Sane. Lost it at WrestleMania. The SmackDown Women's title reign that she had, poorly booked after Becky Lynch. She lost it 2 weeks before WrestleMania just so Charlotte fucking Flair could go into WrestleMania as a champion because she was shoehorned into that main event. She lost her undefeated streak to Charlotte Flair. The Raw Women's Championship reign that she had, 8 months, and nothing was memorable about it. She didn't have one good match. The most memorable thing that she did in this Raw Women's title reign that she had was lose it to Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. And to top it all off, she may have won the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, but for anyone that wants to shove down your throats, oh, Asuka won the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, she is the only Women's Royal Rumble winner in its inception. It's the only Royal Rumble winner for the women thus far to lose her title opportunity at WrestleMania. Becky won her title opportunity. Charlotte won her title opportunity. Bianca Belair won her title opportunity, which I'm still shocked about. Asuka's the only woman that has won the Women's Royal Rumble in all of the years that the Women's Royal Rumble has been active that lost her title opportunity at WrestleMania. What does that tell you about what WWE thinks of Asuka? So again, I ask, what has Asuka done outside of her NXT Women's title reign that's been memorable? No championship on WWE television means anything outside of the Universal Championship. Maybe the Intercontinental Championship. We have to see how Apollo Crews' title reign progresses. Io Shirai's headed down the same path. Same thing with Sarai. This was a damn good match for what it was, though. Sarai and Zoe Stark, very technical to start off. Stark was in control. Sarai came back with some vicious forearms. We had a vicious drop kick by Sarai. Beautiful fisherman suplex by Sarai for a 2. Stark hit a half-and-half suplex and a shining wizard for a close near fall. Stark with a super kick for a 2. Sarai came back with a spinning heel kick and an exploder suplex for the win. Sarai wins her debut. This was a damn good match for what it was. Afterwards, Toni Storm came out to attack Zoe Stark, and she walked off. So it looks like Toni Storm could be Sarai's first legitimate feud in NXT, which I would not mind whatsoever. Candice LeRae was talking to Indy Hartwell. Candice LeRae was talking to Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell didn't follow her before she confronted Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, which resulted in her getting dragged into the locker room and beaten up by the babyfaces. So it looks like people are going to sympathize with Indy Hartwell just a little bit more. Kushida came out. He was not wearing boots. So I'm not sure what's going on. There. But the new attire that he has absolutely sucks. Absolutely fucking sucks. I don't know what the fuck is going on with fucking Kushida, but his attire sucks. He's great in the ring, though, and I'm very happy that he's the Cruiserweight Champion, but his attire sucks. So, Kushida came out, he says, "Last week I won the title in an open challenge. Tonight I will give the same opportunity. who wants a title shot? And Oni Lorcan answered the challenge, and we get Kushida versus Oni Lorcan for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. This was very, very good, very, very hard-hitting. Lorcan came in with a deep-cleaning uppercut. Lorcan came in with a deep-cleaning uppercut for a 2. Kushida answered back, but he got caught with a blockbuster for a 2. Lorcan started chopping Kushida, but Kushida came back with a nice drop kick, a PK to the elbow, and then a hoverboard lock cinched in. Lorcan ended up tapping. Very good match for what it was here. And Kushida, let me tell you something. Even though the attire is terrible, I have a feeling that Kushida is going to be booked a lot better as the Cruiserweight Champion. I have a feeling that Kushida is going to be booked a lot better. I have a feeling that Kushida is going to be booked in a position where he's making that title feel prestigious because Triple H loves him. You could tell Triple H loves him. I'm not sure what he did to make Triple H love him, but the fact that Triple H clearly is investing in Kushida, his match of the year candidate with Gargano, his match with Pete Dunne, and now the fact that he won the title, I have a feeling that Triple H is really going to invest in Kushida. Afterwards, Legado del Fantasma came out to attack, but MSK came out to even the odds, and the babyfaces stood tall. We had Ever Rise, Kevin Owens' favorite tag team on NXT, Ever Rise, versus Imperium. Killian Dane and Drake Maverick came out to get in Alexander Wolf's face, but Dane held Maverick back. Imperium won with the European Bomb, and it looks like that Imperium could be next in line for MSK in the the NXT Tag Team titles, which I hope is the case, and I think that would be great. I think that would be awesome. Imperium as another challenger for MSK, that could be one of the best tag team matches of the year if they want it to be. So they defeated Ever Rise. They'll defeat Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. Maybe they defeat Breezango, and then they get an eventual tag team title opportunity. I don't mind. Next week, we got Kushida and MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. We also got Bronson Reed versus Austin Theory. If Bronson Reed can win, he gets another shot at Gargano. So it looks like we're going to get another match with Gargano and Bronson Reed, which I would not mind whatsoever. And then we got Mercedes Martinez versus Dakota Kai. Mercedes Martinez is eyeing Raquel Gonzalez and the NXT Women's Championship. And in the main event, we had Kyle O'Reilly versus Cameron Grimes. Very good match for what it was. Kyle O'Reilly ended up winning with a brainbuster and a diving knee to the back for the win. And Kyle O'Reilly actually had a stare down with Karrion Kross. I can absolutely see Kyle O'Reilly and Karrion Kross facing off one-on-one, with Kyle O'Reilly getting the title opportunity, Adam Cole returning and costing Kyle O'Reilly, and the feud between them is continuing. Because Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, it's not going to be done after one fucking match. It's not. One fucking match? No way. No way. So that was pretty much that. Very average, very dull episode of NXT. Really nothing too special. Nothing you're going to go back and rewatch. It wasn't bad, but they're going to have to do a lot more. They really need to focus on generating some real interest with NXT. Very, very, very average, very middle-of-the-road NXT. Wasn't bad. We did get some decent wrestling, but nothing too overbearing. So let's check the chat before we move on to AEW Dynamite. Yes, I saw JD's NXT debut, sorta, because he was on the social media tweet wall for NXT on the USA Network. That was pretty fucking cool, if you ask me. But thank you for everyone for sticking with me here. Dynamite, yes, it was awesome. It was a very good show, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Thank you for sticking by, Earl Cole. We got 26 likes. I think that we can get to 30 before we eventually wrap up the stream We have 3 more shows to go over, and then we're going to get out of here. So please, if you haven't already done so, make sure you hit the like button and share out the stream. We only need 4 more likes to get to 30. Can we do it? I think we can do it. Let's talk about Dynamite. Let's talk about Dynamite. Ricky Starks, Absolute. Ricky Starks versus Adam Hangman Page. This was a damn good match for the 10 minutes that it was. Ricky Starks and Adam Hangman Page, they did a very good job. Really nothing overbearing, but it was a damn good match for what it was. And Adam Hangman Page, it looks like that he is going to be next in line to challenge Omega at Double or Nothing. So, Ricky Starks took over control. He was wearing down Adam Hangman Page before Starks got clotheslined out of the air by Page. There was actually a spot where he actually landed on his neck, but he actually was okay. So, props to Ricky Starks. Thankfully, that didn't end up worse than it was. But Starks got clotheslined out of the air by Adam Hangman Page. Page came back with a fallaway slam. A big deadlift brainbuster for a 2. Starks with a very nice sit-out powerbomb. A deadlift sit-out powerbomb. Very, very athletic by Absolute Ricky Starks. Starks got caught with a big avalanche fallaway slam by Adam Hangman Page and a big lariat for a 2. Starks dodged the buckshot lariat and hit a very nice spear for a 2 count. Page then with a bulldog choke, and he locked in an ankle hold, and Starks tapped out. Afterwards, Taz took the microphone and he called for Page. He says, "You got lucky, my friend. What you need to be doing is watching your back." Afterwards, Taz's son Hook, came out and attacked. Cage then came out and he was going to give him a drill claw before the Dark Order saved him. So, I'm not sure what's going on with Hangman Adam Page and the Dark Order, but it doesn't really look like that the Dark Order is really all that buddy-buddy with Adam Hangman Page. Team Taz could very well be on the route to being broken up. As far as Adam Hangman Page goes, I can absolutely see Page and Omega at Double or Nothing because there's legitimately nobody else. I thought that they were going to build up Kingston. To take on Omega, considering that Kingston saved Jon Moxley from the explosion at Revolution, but apparently they're not. Apparently they're going with Kingston and Moxley in a tag team. So, I can absolutely see Page as the next in line. Absolutely. So, this was a damn good match for what it was. And Adam Hangman Page gets the win. He's the number 1 ranked individual, and I can see him challenging Kenny Omega at Double or Nothing. Penta El Cero Miedo with Alex Abrahantes versus Trent. Not really sure what they did there, what's going on with Trent's name, but it's Trent with a question mark. Kind of stupid, but whatever. Trent and Penta El Cero Miedo. This was a very good match, but the ending was fucking stupid. Very good match. Ending was fucking stupid. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So Trent with a beautiful Tope Con Hero. Penta then took over control with a nice sling blade for a 2. Trent then came in with a swinging DDT, but Penta no-sold it and hit a springboard Canadian Destroyer. Both men were down. Trent then with a running knee strike for a 2. Penta with a backstabber out of the corner for a 2. Penta then with the pump handle driver for a 2. Trent with a very sloppy looking pile driver on the apron. And then a big spear on the outside. All of a sudden, Alex Abrahantes took the mic and he said, "Penta says you suck, your friends suck, and your mama sucks." So, Trent obviously did not take too kindly to this. Alex Abrahantes caused a distraction. Cassidy came in, and he tried to take down Alex Abrahantes with his patented pocket shin kicks, but Penta hit him with a super kick. Afterwards, the referee was trying to attend to Orange Cassidy. Alex Abrahantes hit Penta with the microphone, and then Penta hit the package pile driver for the win. Very, very stupid ending. I'm really sick of all these fucking endings where someone gets involved, where he's talking to him in the middle of the match. It's really fucking stupid, and it really makes the individual getting distracted look stupid. Very good match, but terrible fucking ending. I'm guessing that we're leading towards a 6-man tag between Death Triangle and the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy at Double or Nothing, which I wouldn't necessarily mind. We'll see how that works out. So, afterwards, Jim Ross was in the back and he interviewed The Pinnacle. And my oh my, was this a great fucking promo here. This was a great fucking promo. This was up there. It seems like every single time we see MJF, the moment that we think that MJF can't outdo himself, he outdoes himself. And that's something that I just love about MJF. He's always outdoing himself. And that's something that we don't see in a lot of people. We really don't see a guy that is always looking to outdo himself and always looking to improve. And it seems as though every time that MJF is out there, he's becoming better and better and better. And if he's already this good at 25, can you imagine what he's going to be like in 5 years? It's good shit. It's really good shit. So, Jim Ross interviewed The Pinnacle, MJF. He was given a new scarf. Wardlow says, you know, Jericho's promo, you called it the perfect promo. It was almost the perfect promo until you got to me, Jericho. You stumbled over your words, and the moment Wardlow came out of your mouth, you knew you were doing something wrong. MJF then said, I'm the one guy you couldn't hold under your thumb, Chris. You were curtain jerking at 25, meanwhile I'm on national television. I beat you, and I guess that makes me better than you, and you know it. You were right about one thing. I am a mark, but I'm not a mark for you, Jericho. I'm a mark for your spot. Because when you're in the Pinnacle, you're always on top. Good shit. Good shit right here. MJF, he just gets better and better and better every time that we see him, whether it be on the microphone, whether it be in the ring. And absolutely, I can see MJF and the Pinnacle, they must win inside Blood and Guts. They absolutely must win inside Blood and Guts. And I'm going to tell you this, I actually do believe that Jericho is going to be taking a break. I do believe that Jericho has Fozzy obligations, so Jericho is going to take a break after Blood and Guts, and I can see Sammy and MJF going into a one-on-one program at Double or Nothing, specifically because they've been building that match for months. And a lot of people have been wondering when they're going to see that. I can see the Pinnacle winning at Blood and Guts and them doing Sammy and MJF as an undercard match for Double or Nothing. And MJF is definitely going to be in a higher position on the card come the beginning of 2022. Tai Conti versus Hikaru Shida. This was for the AEW Women's World Championship, and in many people's eyes, and in my eyes too, this was the best match of the night. This was great. And I am very, very pleased to see that the women's division is finally coming around. The women's division was actually really well viewed. This match was actually really well viewed for AEW. AEW hit 1.1 million viewers, and this match was actually one of the highest viewed segments of the show. And you know what that tells you right there? That tells you that the effort that they've been putting into the women's division since the start of this year, it's starting to pay off. It's really starting to pay off. Tai Conti has really grown leaps and bounds. Hikaru Shida, even though she's poorly booked, she is great at what she does. She is legit. She's credible. No matter what you think, Shida, regardless of how poorly she's been booked, Shida is credible. Tai Conti, she has grown leaps and bounds, and this was a great match for the AEW Women's World Championship, and the fact that it was one of the highest viewed segments of Dynamite, that actually makes the women's division even more credible to a point where now Britt Baker, she's number one in the rankings. She's going to get the title match at Double or Nothing when Britt Baker wins the championship. If this keeps up, we could be looking at the women's division being a top draw. We could be looking at the women's division being a top draw for AEW in the summertime. And I'm very, very pleased that that's happening. The women's division slowly starting to come together. And I'm liking what we saw here. This was a great match for the AEW Women's World Championship. They started trading heavy strikes early on. Love the intensity. Shida took over control with a nice enziguri and a brain buster on the floor. A brain buster on the floor. Looked brutal. She kept the pressure on Conti. Shida came in with a deadlift superplex. Conti came back with a very nice punt kick. Both women are down. Conti mounted a comeback with a nice German suplex. A running boot to Shida. Then she draped Hikaru Shida on the top turnbuckle and then hit a senton off the top rope while Shida was draped on the top turnbuckle. Looked very, very nice. That got a 2 count. We had a rising knee by Shida and a Falcon Arrow for a 2. Ty Conti then got dropped on the turnbuckle. Spiked back first. Looked fucking nasty. Looked nasty. Conti then came back with a punt kick and she hit the Ty KO, but Shida kicked out. I actually thought that Ty Conti was going to win the championship there. They made it believable, so I got to give them credit. Great match, and they made it believable that Ty Conti was going to get the win. Shida then with a backbreaker and a spinning, kneeling Trouble in Paradise later on in the match, and Hikaru Shida retains the AEW Women's World Championship, rightfully so, in a great match. Match of the night, maybe the match of the week. Maybe the match of the week. And then afterwards, Britt Baker came out, and she pointed to the Titantron, and the rankings showed that she was the number 1 ranked woman. Ladies and gentlemen, Britt Baker, she is your next AEW Women's World Champion, and I could not be more happier. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Tony Schiavone, he interviewed the Inner Circle. Jericho obviously hyping up the crowd. He said that Blood and Guts is going to be one of the most violent matches in the history of TNT. Hager said that you're going to be sucking your meals through a straw for a month. Santana, I'm actually glad that Santana got some time here. Santana actually came off very well here. Santana, he said, you waited till you got a crew to step to us. Where we come from, we call them bitch moves. On May 5th, we'll see the size of your heart. Jericho then said MJF is still singing show tunes on the Rosie O'Donnell show. Jericho then sang a little tune about my jerk-off friend. He said he wiped his ass with his scarf before Tully gave it to him. And at Blood and Guts, I'm going to beat the absolute hell out of you. May God save your soul. He better have your soul because on May 5th, the Inner Circle owns your ass. Decent little promo right here from Jericho. Next week, we got the Inner Circle Pinnacle Parlay to discuss the battle plans for Blood and Guts. And it looks like Blood and Guts, they're hyping up Blood and Guts as a one-match show. What I'm going to be looking for is they remained over 1 million viewers. They remained over 1 million viewers, right? They remained over 1 million viewers. They hit 1.1 million. The ratings that I'm going to be looking at is now that they have this show, Blood and Guts, I'm going to be looking at the Blood and Guts ratings. If that's going to be the only match on the show, I'm going to be looking at those ratings to see how they do. See if they can outdo the ratings that they had last week. We had Billy Gunn and QT Marshall. Really wasn't anything special right here. If you're asking me, this match could have been taken off the show. This was nothing more than a showcase match for QT Marshall. Anthony Ogogo hit Billy in the gut with a punch behind the referee's back. QT hit the Diamond Cutter for the win. This was nothing more than a setup match for a 6-man tag next week. This match could have easily been taken off the show. Really nothing special right here. everyone else, they're just supporting characters, and everything that's going on, they're just biding their time until Cody eventually comes back, because Cody and QT, that's the program. Cody and QT is the program. Cody and QT is the program, with QT and Cody being the match at Double or Nothing, and I expect QT to have a breakout performance, but everything else is just shit to fill in time. It's really nothing special. Just shit to fill in the gaps until Cody returns, which I assume is probably going to be either next week or at Blood and Guts. I'm not sure if they do a segment with QT and Cody at Blood and Guts. We'll see what happens. So afterwards, Dustin Rhodes then came out, and QT was going to hit Billy Gunn with a chair, a wooden chair, before Dustin Rhodes came out with a bull rope. He had a nice power slam to QT. Afterwards, Nick Comoroto came in, and Rhodes hit Comoroto in the head with the wooden chair, but he no-sold it. He was unfazed, and the refs came out to separate them. So next week we got QT, Aaron Solo, and Nick Comoroto versus Billy Gunn, Dustin Rhodes, and Lee Johnson. The Elite were in their trailer, and they challenged Moxley and Kingston to come find them. All of a sudden, a car horn came from outside, and Moxley and Kingston were outside of the Elite trailer in a monster truck, and they rammed into the trailer. They brought out a pipe, but the Elite were not in the trailer, so they swindled Moxley and Kingston. They called them bitches, then they left, and Moxley then threw the pipe into one of the windows of the trailer, and Kingston's like, you could have at least waited until I was out of the way. So, what I can see from this is, I can see Moxley and Kingston challenging the Young Bucks for the tag team titles. That's going to be at Double or Nothing, but I do not see them winning, specifically because Moxley, he's going to be leaving by the end of the summer to care for his newborn child. So at the end of the day, it really wouldn't make sense for Moxley and Kingston to win the titles then. But I can see that match taking place at Double or Nothing. It's going to be pretty big, and I can see the Young Bucks retaining, and I can see Moxley afterwards going away to care for his newborn kid. Powerhouse Hobbs versus Christian Cage. Powerhouse Hobbs versus Christian Cage. This was a decent match for what it was, won about 11 minutes. And listen, I understand people's concerns with this, but at the end of the day, you need to remember something right here. Powerhouse Hobbs, I understand your concern with Powerhouse Hobbs, but you remember All Out when everyone was saying that, oh my god, MJF is buried because he lost to Jon Moxley? MJF is young. MJF is very young. He's got 15, 20 years left in the business. That was his first loss in AEW, period. That, I actually believe that that's the only time in AEW that he's ever been pinned, if I'm going to be quite honest. Jon Moxley's the only guy to ever pin MJF. Now, as far as this match goes, Powerhouse Hobbs, he's been with Team Taz, and he hasn't lost a match all year. This is his first match that he lost all year. Plus, he's young. He's young, and he's got plenty of years left in the business. His time's going to come. On top of that, you notice how they protected Hobbs in defeat here. Hobbs was doing exactly what he was supposed to do. They booked this match exactly how they were supposed to. Hobbs being a big guy, throwing his weight around, using his power, using his strength, beating the shit out of Christian. Christian was fighting an uphill battle with Powerhouse Hobbs, and that's believable. That's believable because, again, Powerhouse Hobbs is a big guy. You gotta fight an uphill battle against a guy like Hobbs. And then Hobbs mocked Christian Cage, and he was the architect of his own defeat. He was the cause of his own downfall, with Hobbs getting too overconfident, and his inexperience cost him. Christian took advantage, saw an opening, and hit the kill switch for the win. Decent match for what it was, and Christian Cage gets the win. Hobbs still looked good in the end. Regardless of if he lost, Hobbs is going to be fine. Hobbs is going to be fine. He's young. He's got all the time left in the world. He'll be fine. So afterwards, Ricky Starks came out to check on Hobbs. Looks like we could be looking at Ricky Starks versus Christian Cage later on. It looks like Team Taz could be done. To be quite honest, it's probably the best route for him. I would just keep Taz with Hook and Hobbs. I would keep Taz with Hook and Hobbs. I would have Ricky Starks. He's going to be fine. He can speak for himself. He doesn't need Taz. He can speak for himself. He's very good in the ring, and he's a very good promo. He's a very good promo. And Brian Cage, he's got a lot of upside because he's a big guy that can do things that a big guy can't do. So I can't help but think that Team Taz, it's pretty much pointless at this rate. Just split them up. Next week, we actually got an interesting card. We got Penta El Cero Miedo taking on Orange Cassidy. We got Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford. We got Brian Cage versus Adam Page. We got the six-man tag between Dustin, QT, The Factory, Billy Gunn, and Lee Johnson. And then we got the Young Bucks versus Mike and Matt Sydal. We also got the Inner Circle and Pinnacle Parlay before Blood and Guts. Darby Allin versus Jungle Boy. This was for the TNT Championship, and this was a very, very good match for what it was. Darby Allin, he is fantastic at what he does. Darby Allin, he is absolutely the best TNT champion that we've had to date. Jungle Boy, this was his first TNT title opportunity since his match with Cody. And Darby Allin and Jungle Boy really brought it in this main event. Very, 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 very good stuff here. Darby Allin has really developed a nice string of wins for himself, a nice string of successful title defenses for himself, and Darby Allin has really established himself as a legitimate champion. Darby Allin's credible. Darby Allin is credible, and I can absolutely see him dropping that title to a Lance Archer sooner rather than later, considering that Lance Archer, he is lingering around Sting. Maybe Lance Archer beats Sting before we eventually get Lance Archer versus Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. But this was a very good TNT Championship match in the main event here. And then some nice technical wrestling to start off the match. Back and forth counters. They sent each other over the railing, back into the ring. Darby with a great superplex. A really great superplex. We had Jungle Boy sending Darby into the corner. German suplex for a 2. Back and forth we go. Darby got spiked on his neck with a body scissors Rana. Jungle Boy with 2 suicide dives and a Tope Con Hero. Jungle Boy then got laid out on the apron. And Darby with a coffin drop on the apron. Darby with a coffin drop on the apron. Both men are on the floor. Darby got back into the ring. Luchasaurus actually helped Jungle Boy into the ring. Sting and Luchasaurus actually got involved. Sting and Luchasaurus actually got involved with each other, and they actually brawled into the back. The match continued. Darby Allin got locked in the snare trap, but Darby was just able to get to the ropes. Darby then ripped and gouged at the eyes of Jungle Boy, and then Darby locked in the Last Supper Cradle pinfall for the 1, 2, 3, and Darby Allin retains the TNT Championship in a very good match. Afterwards, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page attacked. Not really sure where they're going, but afterwards, Luchasaurus was gone. Lance Archer came out to save Darby, and Sting came out as well, and Sting and Lance Archer sent Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky running. So, not sure what's going on there. Could we be looking at a tag team match with Sting, Lance Archer, Scorpio Sky, and Ethan Page? Maybe. I'm not sure. I can definitely see that happening with Lance Archer gaining momentum towards an eventual TNT title match against Mr. Darby Allin, which I would not mind. And that was pretty much that. I don't really know what they're doing with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. It almost seems like they're being wasted. I hope to see them in a more prominent role. Maybe we see Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page challenge Darby Allin for the TNT title after Blood and Guts, leading up to Lance Archer's eventual win at Double or Nothing. Maybe. We'll see what happens there. But this was a very good episode of AEW Dynamite, best show of the week, hands down. They were able to keep themselves over 1 million viewers. Very, very pleased with what they're doing. We are going to see what else they have in store for the build towards Blood and Guts, and then the build towards Double or Nothing towards the end of May. Yes, please everyone subscribe to Mr. Earl Cole's channel. Big Fight Field, thank you very much for stopping by. I greatly appreciate you. 10 people watching. We got 29 likes. 29 likes. I like it. Proud Mixed Child, thank you very much for stopping by. You stay safe. 29 likes. We just need one more. We need one more like. And we got 2 more shows to review. I think that we can get over 30 likes before we get on out of here. So here's what I need y'all to do. I need y'all to share out the stream and get some more people in here. We just need one more like to get to 30. So if you guys can get me to one more like, I would greatly appreciate it. We're going to talk about NXT UK next, which was actually a fairly decent show. Cool King, you keep it real as well. Please stay safe. I'm praying for you as well. I hope everything is going very, very well. NXT UK. Let's talk about NXT UK, which was actually a fairly decent show. We did get some decent pro wrestling. Here on this show, and I am very, very interested to see, where they go, but I can't help but feel as though, outside of Monday Night Raw, obviously, NXT UK is much better than Monday Night Raw, but I can't help but feel as though NXT UK is really suffering because of the pandemic, the fact that there's no fans, the fact that there's no NXT UK takeovers, they're just kind of there. It really makes me think, that, you know, the pandemic hurt NXT UK the most. The pandemic hurt NXT UK the most because at the beginning of 2020, NXT UK was doing some great shit, and they were really starting to get off the ground, and then all of a sudden the pandemic hit, and then everything just fucking fell apart. So I really do hope that NXT UK really gets back on the right track sooner rather than later. But Joe Coffey and Eddie Dennis kicked off the show. This is a fairly decent match for what it was. These two are very good professional wrestlers. Dennis was in control. We had a nice cravat suplex on Joe Coffey for a 2. We had a spinning side slam for a 2. Coffey mounted a comeback with a sliding elbow drop for a 2. Dennis then fired back with the Razor's Edge for a 2. Coffey then with the Boston Crab, but T-Bone and Primate came out to distract Joe Coffey. Eddie Dennis then tried to roll up Coffey, but he kicked out. Gallus then came out to attack T-Bone and Primate. Joe Coffey hit a crossbody off the top. He hit the Glasgow send-off, and then hit Aura Best for the Bells for the win. And then afterwards, we had a big brawl with Gallus standing tall. Next week, we got Gallus versus Eddie Dennis, T-Bone, and Primate in a 6-man tag. Should be rather interesting, but Joe Coffey and Eddie Dennis gave you a very decent match to start off the show. Nothing too crazy, but a fairly decent match. I like watching these two wrestle. And I'm not sure where they're going. I'm not sure where Joe Coffey's going. Could he potentially be built up to face off against A-Kid or Tyler Bate, whoever wins the Heritage Cup match? Could we possibly see another match between him and Walter? I don't know. Afterwards, Ilya Dragunov was shown in the back watching his matches where he lost his cool. I'm not sure what this means, but it was clearly shown as an emphasis that every single time someone slapped the back of his neck, he lost it. I'm not sure what this means, but could that newfound aggression possibly lead him to another match with Walter and a potential victory against Walter? I actually hope so. Dave Mastiff versus Sam Gradwell. This actually wasn't a bad match at all. This actually was a fairly decent match for what it was. Mastiff went in for a senton, but Gradwell countered with the knees, and Mastiff's back hit Gradwell's knee brace. Mastiff tried to mount the comeback. He hit a crossbody, big running lariat. but Gradwell took advantage by draping Dave Mastiff neck first over the ropes, and then Sam Gradwell, I didn't think he was this strong, but the motherfucker's actually pretty strong. He got Dave Mastiff up on his shoulders and hit a beautiful Samoan driver. A beautiful Samoan driver. Looked great. Looked great. And Gradwell actually got the win here. I'm not sure what this means. I don't think he's going anywhere, but Dave Mastiff doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Sam Gradwell got a win. Good for Sam Gradwell. We had Danny Luna versus Ginny. Danny Luna versus Ginny. It's a women's match. Probably the weakest match of the night. Really nothing overly crazy. So, we had Ginny locking in a tight submission hold, an iron octopus stretch. Luna with a gut-wrench suplex barrage. Very Cesaro-like. She hit a nice suplex for a 2. Luna and Ginny were hitting hard. We had a big lariat by Luna before Joseph Connors caused a distraction. Hit a ripcord, and then Ginny hit a ripcord heel kick, and Ginny ended up getting the win. Ginny then continued the assault afterwards before Webster and Andrews came out to stop the assault. So it looks like maybe we could be getting a 6-person tag team match if Ginny and Joseph Connors could find a partner. Don't really know what's going on there, but really nothing overly special for me to care about there. Sid Scala was in his office with Amir Jordan, and he talked to Amir Jordan, and he said that Williams has agreed to give Jordan a rematch, but the loser will have to leave NXT UK. Jordan then signed the contract, and he said, "No one's taking this away from me." Next week, we got Rohan Raja is taking on Tio Man. Don't really know what to think of this. Tio Man really isn't anything special. I've never heard of Rohit Raja either. Next week, we do have a 6-person tag team match, and we also got Eva Valkyrie taking on Meiko Satomura. That's going to be very interesting. Eva Valkyrie looks to be the next NXT UK Women's Champion for sure. Shaw Samuels and Noam Dar versus Mustache Mountain. This was a very good tag team match in the main event. This was a prelude match to Tyler Bates' eventual Heritage Cup match against A-Kid. So Samuels was wearing down 7, some vicious backbreakers for a 2. Dar stomped on 7's arm. 7 was kept at bay before Bate got the hot tag. Excuse me. He lit up Shaw Samuels with a nice exploder and a shooting star press when Noam Dar was able to save it. Mustache Mountain kept the pressure on. We had a nice spine buster by Shaw Samuels and a Meishinuku driver on 7 for a 2. 7 and Bate took turns diving to the outside onto Dar and Shaw Samuels before we eventually got the Birmingham Hammer knee drop combo for the win, and Mustache Mountain ends up getting the win. If I'm going to be booking this, I would not give Tyler Bate the NXT UK Heritage Cup, and I would rather push Mustache Mountain to win the NXT UK Tag Team titles. Obviously, that's not going to happen anytime soon because Pretty Deadly just won the titles. But if I'm booking this, I would absolutely give Pretty Deadly Mustache Mountain later on in the summer, with Mustache Mountain eventually winning the titles. There's no reason to have Webster and Andrews win the titles again, or maybe Ashton Smith and Oliver Carr. No reason to have them win the titles. Imperium, they're still in NXT. Mustache Mountain, they're in NXT UK. Give Mustache Mountain. Give Mustache Mountain the tag team titles. I would give it to them. I would also keep Noam Dar and Shaw Samuels as a tag team. But that was pretty much NXT UK. Fairly decent show. Decent wrestling show. Nothing really too crazy. Nothing really too overly special. Next week looks fairly decent too. Eva Valkyrie versus Meiko Satomura. That should be great. And I can absolutely see Eva Valkyrie getting the victory and getting a title opportunity against Kaylee Ray. And I would love to see her win the championship from Kaylee Ray. SmackDown. We'll get to SmackDown in just a little bit. We just hit 30 likes. You guys are fucking fantastic. You guys are awesome. We just hit 30 likes. That is what I like to see. And we got one more show to go through. We're going to go through SmackDown, which actually was a fairly good show. SmackDown was actually a fairly good show. It felt like it was operating with a sense of direction. It had some great wrestling. It progressed a few storylines. And I am very, very interested to see what they do next week, because next week's SmackDown is loaded up to be a big show too. We got 2 title matches on SmackDown next week. But I'm glad everyone's still sticking here with me. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you to the 7 people still in here. 30 likes. I like to see it. I like to see 30 likes. That's my usual goal. You guys are fantastic. Very, 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 very happy for the 30 likes that we got here. If you guys could continue to share it out. Continue to share it out, because I want to get just a little more likes here in the stream before we eventually get out of here. We got one more show to review. So if you guys could hit me up with a few more likes. I am not dabbing, Danielle. You need to stop with the dabs. Stop with the dabs. I'm not dabbing. You're the one that dabs. I don't dab. I don't dab. You're the one that dabs. I don't dab. So, stop with those dabs. Stop with those dabs. We got 30 likes, though. I'm very, very pleased to see that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Earl Cole. You are fantastic at what you do as well. You are excellent at what you do. Let's talk about SmackDown. SmackDown, which was actually a fairly good show, surprisingly. Now, could they continue that? I hope they do. Next week's show looks fairly promising. We got 2 title matches on next week's show. So let's hope that SmackDown is able to continue their momentum. I hope they continue their momentum. I don't really have any faith that they will, but we got a fairly good show this week. Probably the best show that we've gotten since the Christmas Day episode, which was a very good episode of SmackDown. Cesaro kicked off the show, but before he could even get a word out, Seth Rollins interrupted him. He says, "Give it up for Cesaro. I wanted to congratulate you because you did it. You finally fulfilled your potential. You know why? It's because you were in the ring at WrestleMania with me, the new Mr. WrestleMania, Seth freaking Rollins, and I gave you the performance, the night, and I led you to the promised land. You plan to move on from me? No. This isn't over. Nothing is over until I say that it's over. You know, if a rain delay didn't throw me off my game, I wouldn't have lost. Even on my worst day and your best day, you can't beat me." So Cesaro goes, "Are you having a good day? Because I'm having a great day. And I would love for you to step into the ring so I can beat you again." All of a sudden, Jey Uso interrupted. And he goes, "You can't beat Roman. You can't beat me. And I'm going to give you the lesson that you should have learned last week." So before he could walk down to that ring, Rollins stopped and he goes, whoa, listen. There's 2 of us, 1 of him. Let's teach him a lesson together. You know, you feel me, Us? And Us is like, "Yeah, I feel you. I rock with that. So Rollins and Uso then surrounded Cesaro before Daniel Bryan came out to stand side by side with Cesaro. And Bryan asks, "Oh, wait, where are you guys going?" "Oh, wait, you didn't come out here for the reasons I thought you did. See, I came out to make sure Cesaro finally gets what he deserves. I have an infinite amount of respect for Cesaro because he's worked harder than anyone. Roman is where he is because of family connections, which is factual information. No matter how good Roman Reigns is right now, Roman Reigns is as successful as he is because of family connections. Meanwhile, Cesaro has not gotten a break once, so that is truthful statements from Mr. Bryan. So Rollins goes, "Oh, you didn't like that? Oh, is Roman going to come out and accept the challenge? Oh, wait, he doesn't like to fight his own battles. He doesn't like to wrestle. Anyone that wants to come and fight, come on out." So Roman Reigns came out with Paul Heyman, his special counsel, the tribal chief Roman Reigns. He came out. And I love Roman. I love Roman Reigns. I love the way that Roman carries himself. I love how Roman just oozes charisma and oozes this cockiness about him. It makes him come off legit. It makes him come off confident. It makes him come off like someone who we should be taking seriously and we should actually be invested in. Because no one was fucking invested in Roman Reigns as a babyface. Now he's the best thing in all of WWE. So Roman goes, I told the whole world what I was going to do. Smash him, stack him, and pin him 1, 2, 3. The fact that, Cesaro, you're letting this loser speak for you makes you a loser. Bryan, you're a main event loser. Cesaro, you're a casino loser. You're just a stupid loser. You're surrounded by people that want to whoop your ass, so good luck tonight. Wasn't a bad segment whatsoever. The only thing that I just don't like about this whole thing, the segment was fine. Everyone carried themselves fine. And we got a very good tag team match afterwards, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. The only thing I don't like is the fact that Cesaro is being put in a position where he's ultimately going to lose. And I've said it once and I'll say it again. Cesaro's the correct guy to beat Roman Reigns. This should be the SummerSlam match, Cesaro and Roman. But you're teasing it now. Now, could it be a sense of long-term storytelling? Yes, but I don't have any confidence that WWE is going to do that. Cesaro is worth so much more than just being an interim opponent. Roman Reigns is not losing that title until SummerSlam the earliest. Cesaro is the guy to do it. Because if you're going to give Cesaro the Universal Championship, then it's going to either be at SummerSlam, or you're going to continue it into Hell in a Cell, or he's going to do it at WrestleMania. Those are the only 3 events where Cesaro should actually be winning the title. You're not going to take the title off of Roman Reigns at any point before SummerSlam. You're not. You can't. So I just don't like the fact that Cesaro, he's being positioned in a manner in which, hey, I'm going to get a shot at the Universal Championship before SummerSlam. I don't like that. Because whoever faces Roman between now and SummerSlam, automatic L. Cesaro is the guy to beat Roman. Cesaro should be taking the title off of Roman at SummerSlam, because that's the guy that you transfer that credibility to. Unless Keith Lee moves over to SmackDown and you build up Keith Lee to face Roman and take the title off of Roman, Cesaro is your guy. I just don't like the fact that they're teasing Cesaro getting a title opportunity before SummerSlam. Because if he gets the title opportunity before SummerSlam, automatic loss. So coming back from commercial, we get Cesaro and Bryan versus Jey Uso and Seth Rollins, which was a very good tag team match. This went really long. This went through 2 commercial breaks. We had a double suplex on the floor to Cesaro coming back from commercial. Bryan was isolated. Bryan and Rollins then collided in the middle of the ring. Cesaro got the hot tag and he lit up Jey Uso. Big discus lariat for a 2 and a springboard Swiss uppercut for a 2. We had a big pop-up uppercut, but Rollins saved it. Bryan with a suicide dive, taking out Rollins. Uso with a super kick in midair. Coming back from another commercial, Cesaro then locked in the sharpshooter, but Uso saved it. Rollins then made the tag, and Uso watched as Rollins walked off, and he said, I don't need this. I'm Seth freaking Rollins. Cesaro hit a superplex. Bryan hit a running knee for the win. This was a very good match to kick off SmackDown. And then Bryan then took the mic, and he goes, oh, Roman, I thought you said something about our asses being whooped, or are you still coming out? Uso then tried to run interference, but he got swung by Cesaro. Round and round he goes. Bryan was still on the turnbuckle, trash talking, which was fucking hilarious. Bryan goes, hey, Roman, are you coming out? Cesaro goes, no, he won't come out to save his own cousin. And Bryan goes, well, why don't you swing Jey again? And maybe he'll come out. And Cesaro goes, oh, you think that will work? We'll see. So Bryan says, hey, Roman, are you going to accept the challenge? Cesaro continues to swing Jey. Round and round we go. Bryan goes, I can't even count all those swings. And he goes, oh no, Roman, are you afraid? I think you know that you can't beat Cesaro, and Roman is afraid that if Cesaro faces him, Cesaro will be the new Universal Champion. A very, very entertaining segment after the very good tag team match that we got. This was pretty good. Pretty good stuff. And I like the humorous dynamic between Bryan and Cesaro. It just comes off very natural. But I just don't like the fact that Cesaro is floating around this title picture with Roman and Bryan this early. Because again, if he faces Roman at any point between now and SummerSlam, it's an automatic loss, and he's done. Nia Flapjacks taking on Tamina. Tommy Dreamer says Tamina has all the potential to be a top babyface in the division. Tommy Dreamer, I think you took a little too many chair shots to the head, brother. What a dumb statement. This was sloppy as shit. Tamina actually slipped while trying to hit a boot on Nia Jax, which was fucking terrible. So Reginald came back. He got involved. Shannon and Reginald had some miscommunication on the outside. Tamina hit a super kick and a roll-up for the win. Again, this entire storyline sucks. Tamina sucks. Reginald sucks. Nia Jax sucks. The women's tag team titles are worthless. They absolutely fucking suck. But there is one glaring positive. If this means getting the titles off of Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, getting Baszler away from Nia Jax, and having Baszler win the Women's Money in the Bank briefcase on June 20th at Money in the Bank, that I am all for, and you're not going to hear a complaint out of me, because Shayna Baszler should win the briefcase, and Shayna Baszler should cash in on Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam and win the Raw Women's Championship. That's what should happen. We get Kevin Owens, KO, versus Apollo Crews, the Nigerian warrior. Anyone who takes a shot at my Intercontinental Championship has to answer to the Nigerian nail. I love Apollo Crews. I think that Apollo Crews in this new Nigerian warrior gimmick, this is fantastic. Apollo Crews, he's carrying himself. He's carrying himself in a manner in which he's confident. He comes off with conviction. And Jay Leto, shout out to him. He recently just got suspended from Twitter. I don't even know why. Jay Leto, shout out to him. He talks about how this was his gimmick on the independent scene as Yuha Nation. And that in turn makes him more comfortable because now he doesn't seem overly scripted. He's coming off in a way that he sounds legit. He sounds confident. He sounds like he believes what he says, and he wants people to believe what he says. And that, in turn, is going to make more and more people invested in him. The Nigerian Prince Apollo Crews is great. So, Owens was in control early. Very nice chain wrestling. Apollo Crews took over. Nice snap suplex for a 2. Owens missed Crews missed the moonsault. Owens hit him with a super kick and then hit him with a senton for a 2. Sami Zayn then came out going into commercial. Coming back from commercial, Zayn was on commentary. Owens with a super kick to Crews for a 2. Crews with a very nice lariat turning Kevin Owens inside out. Owens sold the shit out of this. Made Apollo Crews look very good. Crews with an enziguri and a German suplex barrage. Kevin Owens, though, kicked out at 2. Owens with a released German suplex and 2 cannonballs. Crews was able to kick out. We had a super kick by Owens and a beautiful pop-up powerbomb for a very, very close near fall. Owens then went up to the top, hit a frog splash off the apron to Crews on the floor. Commander Aziz then got up on the apron, caused the distraction. Crews took advantage and rolled up Kevin Owens for the 1, 2, 3. A very good match. This went about 14 minutes. Afterwards, Owens hit a stunner on Crews. Commander Aziz then hit the Nigerian nail. And after the match, Zayn danced over Kevin Owens while Apollo Crews' theme music played in the background. So Owens and Zayn, they're obviously not done. That I can see happening at WrestleMania Backlash. Now, I do have to give WWE credit. I never give them credit, but I do have to give them credit here. I gotta tell you something. I appreciate the fact that this match did not end in a disqualification. I appreciate that Apollo Crews retained the title straight up, somewhat straight up, and afterwards, Owens got laid out by Commander Aziz with Sami Zayn dancing over him. I gotta give WWE credit for doing the right thing and not having this match end in a disqualification. I appreciate that. And if this keeps up, Apollo Crews, they could actually make Apollo Crews the second best thing in all of WWE right now. If this keeps up, and I hope it does, I really do hope that Apollo Crews continues on the path that he's continuing on right now, because right now, this version of Apollo Crews is amazing. So afterwards, Paul Heyman was in the back being interviewed by Caleb Braxton, and he says, live here tonight, Cesaro and the World will get their answer. They will get the answer to the challenge from the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. Apollo was being interviewed by Megan Morant, Big E then with a sneak attack, sending Crews into some production crates before Commander Aziz came out to see Apollo Crews laid out. And next week, it was actually confirmed we got Big E versus Apollo for the Intercontinental Championship. I thought that they were going to save it for WrestleMania Backlash, but no, apparently they want to do it here. See what happens. Aleister Black! Aleister Black has been found. Aleister Black is alive, and he had a vignette in which he was in glasses reading scriptures in a Gothic church. And he was reading a chapter from a book. And the chapter in the book was called The Dragon. The Dragon. So, he was talking about his life as a child, talking about how his father grew distant, and everyone turns their children into monsters. Smoke then engulfed him, and that was pretty much it. So he was talking about the dragon. I'm not sure what's going on with the dragon. I'm not sure how dragons relate to Aleister Black, but he is alive. He's got this new vignette. It was a very good vignette. It was a very, very interesting vignette. Does this mean anything for him? I doubt it. Does this mean anything for him? I doubt it. I doubt this means anything for him because, again, history proves otherwise. I'm not going to believe that they have plans to push Apollo Crews and make, not Apollo Crews, Aleister Black. They are pushing Apollo Crews. I'm not going to believe that they have any plans to push Aleister Black and make him a big deal if history has shown otherwise. So, again, I am going to wait. I'm going to wait for the debut, and I'm going to wait to see what they have going on with Aleister Black. And if they do end up pushing Aleister Black, so be it. I can definitely see him as a potential challenger for Apollo Crews, and if they build him up strong enough, a potential challenger for Roman Reigns. But I don't know. Seeing is believing. So I am not going to believe that they're going to push Aleister Black until I actually see it happen. Bayley broke up a segment with the Dirty Dogs and the Street Profits, thank Christ. Dirty Dogs and the Street Profits should be nowhere near each other. She was trash-talking Bianca, who she will face at WrestleMania Backlash, by the way, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Montez Ford was on the phone with Bianca, and she said, "Oh, I'll be right there." So Bianca came face-to-face with Bayley, and Bayley was like, it's going to be an honor to wrestle you at WrestleMania Backlash. Oh, and one more thing. She then laughed in her face, cackled in her face, and laughed. Bayley's a gem, that I will say. Now, let's talk about this match at WrestleMania Backlash. I don't know what's going on with Sasha. I'll have to do some research on that. I'll have to inform myself on what's going on with Sasha. But Bayley and Bianca. Is it a pay-per-view worthy match? Absolutely. Absolutely, it's a pay-per-view worthy match. Is it going to help elevate Bianca's title reign? Yes, I have full confidence that Bayley, because I know how Bayley is and how generous Bayley is and how Bayley cares about the betterment of the women's division, I have full confidence that Bayley is going to do everything in her power to make Bianca's title reign relevant and elevate Bianca Belair. And I respect Bayley for that. Is it going to elevate Bianca? Yeah. Does it make sense? No! No, it doesn't make sense, and I'll tell you why. When was the last time Bayley wrestled in a match? Bayley hasn't wrestled a match in months. She's been doing nothing but ding-dong, hello, talk show segments. On top of that, she got fucking embarrassed by the fucking Bella Twins of all people at WrestleMania. All of a sudden, that constitutes as being worthy of a SmackDown women's title opportunity just because she said, yeah, I'm going to challenge Bianca Belair. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. It would have made more sense if Sasha challenged Bianca. I don't understand how Bayley is exactly worthy of a title opportunity. Will it help Bianca's title reign? Yes. Is it going to be a damn good match? Is it a pay-per-view worthy match? Absolutely. Does it make sense? Fuck no. And it just goes to show you, WWE doesn't give a shit. The build could be great, but it doesn't make any sense. Rey and Dominic Mysterio versus Otis and Chad Gable, the Alpha Academy. We've seen this a lot of times. This was probably their best match together. This wasn't a bad match at all. This was actually fairly decent. This is actually fairly decent here. Dominic was isolated by the Alpha Academy. We had the Alpha Academy in control coming back from commercial before Dominic fought back and made the tag to Rey Mysterio. He picked up the pace. We had a sunset flip powerbomb on Gable for a 2. Rey with a Frankensteiner off the top to Gable. That actually looked very nice. Dominic with a sunset flip powerbomb sliding underneath the bottom rope, taking out Chad Gable into the barricade. Back in the ring, Otis was sent into the announce table. And then we had a 619 and a frog splash from Rey Mysterio to Chad Gable for the win. Decent match for what it was. What a concept. I tweeted this out. What a concept. A match between two individuals looking to jockey for position up the ladder, and the Mysterios win. The Mysterios now have momentum, which will eventually equate to a future tag team title opportunity. The fact that this is not being done more often is a fucking crime. Do this more often, and more people will have credibility, and you're not going to hear me complain about people challenging for championships, and you won't have to beat the champions in non-title matches. Mysterios get the win. Fairly decent match. Afterwards, Bryan and Cesaro come out to the ring, and they wait on Roman Reigns, on whether or not Roman Reigns is going to challenge Cesaro or accept the challenge from Cesaro. So, Cesaro and Bryan were in the ring coming back from commercial. Cesaro took the microphone and he said, "We're all waiting to hear your answer. So, are you either going to come here and give us your answer, or I could just come back there and get an answer?" So, Roman, Heyman, and Jay then came out. Roman held up the Universal title. He did not look happy. And Roman Reigns, this was very good. I love the way that Roman Reigns came off here. Roman goes, "You're going to challenge me? You don't deserve it. You didn't earn it. I'm the tribal chief around here." And the Universal Champion issues the challenge. The challenge goes to you. And he pointed at Daniel Bryan. He looked at Bryan. He goes, "I don't like you. I never liked you. You get one more shot at this next week. You get one more title opportunity." Cesaro goes, "You have to take it. You have to take it." Roman then stops Daniel Bryan before he could even get a word out, and he goes, but on one condition. When you lose, I want you to vanish. I don't ever want to see you on my show again. Do you understand? Bryan then goes, I accept. And Roman held up the Universal title and left. And that's the way that SmackDown went off the air. Now, what does this mean? What does this mean? This could mean a lot of things. This can mean a lot of things. Now, Daniel Bryan, he did say that he's been battling depression. Daniel Bryan did say that he would like to wrestle in other companies. His contract is up in August. And he's really expressed his desire to have a part-time schedule, and I'm not sure if WWE is actually going to give that to him. I don't know what's going on there. I don't. But is Daniel Bryan gone? I don't know. Maybe this could be a way to write him off of television. Maybe this is a way to put Daniel Bryan on the shelf so that way his contract can run out. He takes care of his wife and his kid, and then maybe he goes somewhere else and he wrestles somewhere else with a limited schedule. I don't know. But if WWE, if they allow Bryan to go, then wherever Bryan goes, he's going to bring a lot of fucking fans to wherever promotion he goes. He's really going to help that promotion that he's a part of. It's going to be enhanced tenfold. So, I don't know. But Daniel Bryan, when he leaves, if he leaves, wherever he goes, he's really going to aid whichever show he's a part of. And it's going to be very, very, very interesting if Daniel Bryan actually leaves. Now, we've been down this road before. Obviously, Daniel Bryan has expressed pleasure of leaving and fighting in other promotions, fighting other wrestlers. He's expressed his desire to go off and do his own thing outside of WWE, but WWE always manages to keep him. I don't know if this is one of those scenarios, but I don't know. It's rather interesting, but I actually don't think he's leaving. I actually think that this is going to be nothing more than Bryan taking a little bit of time off to care for his family, and then Bryan is going to come back, and he's going to come back as a member of Monday Night Raw. I do believe that WWE, considering that they're going to start touring again, I do believe that they're going to give Bryan a more of a part-time schedule, and they're really going to give him that Brock Lesnar schedule. Mainly because of the fact that, again, WWE would be foolish to let Daniel Bryan go. And I do have to give credit to JD from New York, who actually pitched this idea of Daniel Bryan going to Raw. And I actually didn't think that he was going to win the WWE Championship, but I thought that they were going to trade him to Monday Night Raw, considering that Mia Yim's on SmackDown, Keith Lee's going to be moving over to SmackDown, and Keith Lee and Bryan switching brands. That would benefit both shows and both men. Because if Keith Lee goes to SmackDown, you have the option of building up Keith Lee to face off against Roman Reigns and potentially beat Roman for the Universal title. Bryan goes to SmackDown, and again, shout out to JD from New York for coming up with this idea. Adam Cole could be brought up to the main roster to fight Daniel Bryan, with Daniel Bryan as the WWE Champion. We could potentially be seeing Daniel Bryan as the WWE Champion by the end of SummerSlam, should he sign a new contract. And now, obviously, it's not going to be the first program that we see because it wouldn't make any sense, but here's one thing that Adam Cole on the main roster with Daniel Bryan as the WWE Champion opens up. It opens up the door for Adam Cole to potentially win the 2022 Royal Rumble. Because right now, the Royal Rumble, there's really no one that you can say that, oh yeah, there's a clear-cut winner to win the Royal Rumble. If we have individuals such as Adam Cole in there, with Daniel Bryan as the WWE Champion, if Cesaro's in there, with Roman Reigns still as the Universal Champion, Keith Lee's now on SmackDown, so you have the potential of Cesaro potentially winning the Royal Rumble, challenging Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. You have the potential of Keith Lee potentially winning the Royal Rumble and challenging Roman at WrestleMania, or you got the potential of Adam Cole winning the Royal Rumble and challenging Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 38 and winning the WWE Championship. That's a nice, solid string of potential Royal Rumble winners that will make the Rumble a lot more exciting and a lot more unpredictable. So I definitely can see Daniel Bryan taking a month or two off after this loss to Roman, and then we could potentially see Daniel Bryan make a return on Raw. Keith Lee, he's going to go to SmackDown since Mia Yim's on SmackDown, his soon-to-be wife. Keith Lee's going to do his thing on SmackDown, and Bryan could potentially be positioned to either fight Drew McIntyre or Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, with Daniel Bryan winning the championship, taking that title into WrestleMania 38, and then dropping it to Adam Cole, who could potentially win the Royal Rumble. It's a very, very interesting scenario, and a very, very unpredictable scenario as well. I don't know what to expect. Honest to God, I do not know what to expect, but based on the fact that Mia Yim's moving over to SmackDown, that means Keith Lee's going to move over to SmackDown, and I can absolutely see Daniel Bryan moving over to Raw in exchange for Keith Lee moving over to SmackDown. It makes sense. I don't know, but next week's show, very, very interesting. It's loaded. SmackDown overall, a very good show. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. I think I just looked at the playbacks. We have over 100 playbacks for this episode of the Lightning Flash Update. You guys brought it. Thank you very much for sticking by and sticking around. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. I have a collaboration in the works. with Mr. Escobar Morales of CNE Podcast. We are going to be doing a little spin-off podcast, and it's going to be called Escobar Wrestling Federation, where we discuss some hot topics within the world of professional wrestling. I will keep you guys up to date on that. That should be up within the next week or two. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Furious Nation. Thank you, Earl Cole and Proud Mixed Child and everyone who tuned into the Lightning Flash Update. Like, comment, subscribe. I will be live next week. I will be live next week on May 1st for another episode of the Lightning Flash Update. I got a lot of shit to do this week, continuing to apply for jobs, doing my paper, but I am going to make sure I get it all done. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. For those of you watching Impact Wrestling's Rebellion tomorrow, you enjoy it. Thank you very much, and you have an awesome weekend.